Hello and welcome to episode 8 of season 7 of The Sausage Factory. I'm your moderator, Pizzell, and joining me tonight, I have got the majestic Jay the Stingray. What's up, Stingray?
What's happening, fellas?
The new nickname for Stingray, the Majestic.
The Majestic.
I don't know where it came from, but I'll take it.
Get those shirts printed up, got the beard on it, just up, but majestic. You know what I mean? The glasses and the beard, majestic.
Mm-hmm. With like a unicorn horn or some shit.
There you go.
That's how it's got to be.
There you go. How you doing, Jay?
Good, man. Doing good.
Doing good. Very good. Very good. Very good. Also with me tonight from sunny Canada, sunny and warm Canada, Raiho Magnifico. What's up, Raiho?
It's looking a lot better than down your way these days, guys. It's not been that cold, I'll tell you what. I've been doing good. Yeah, doing great.
Good. Yeah, what is the weather like up there?
Oh gosh, it's not that cold right now. I was just outside. It might be like minus 12. But like, you know, I'm hearing you guys are bottoming out like minus 60 or something like that.
We're doing
Fahrenheit and shit.
We're doing it's rough. It's been rough the past couple of days here.
Mm-hmm. I've experienced minus 40 Celsius years ago when I used to live in like the prairies, so like the Midwest of Canada. And it's an absolute hateful, dry, awful cold. That it's a nightmarish hellscape. So I feel pain for all the people affected by that for sure.
Yeah. Crazy weather. And like next week they're saying, oh, it's going to be back in the 50s. Don't worry about it. Or the 60s. Don't worry about it. And I'm like, how does that happen?
The polar vortex.
Yeah. Gosh, I don't know.
I don't know.
Craziness.
I don't understand.
Yeah. Also with me tonight is Lorne. What's going on, Lorne? How you doing, man?
I'm good. How are you? It's cold here. Not as cold as you have it, but close. Got snow on the ground, which refuses to go away because it keeps freezing. So it's basically like skiing on a car to work.
I hear you. And now you are launching your very own YouTube channel on Valentine's Day. Is that correct?
On Valentine's Day, the first episode of the Visited by Voices series. The first one explores the popularity of the slasher film and the social underpinnings that have made it resonate with people. Because you saw a rough draft of the first half of it, so
I did. And spoiler, I'm just going to tell you the fascination, what the single element that's drawn so many people to slasher movies all these years, pubes. That's it. Jim,
that's going to be an interesting series.
Jim Wynorski called them the world's cheapest special effects, and very true.
Oh,
in some cases they can be very, very expensive to lawsuits later.
That's true. And also with us tonight, Orc. How are you, Orc?
Like warm, kind of, in the single digits, but I fucking hate heating bills. So I can't imagine what like negative like 40 with like negative 50 wind chill feels like. You're like, oh, I just filled the propane up. Oh wait, it's empty. Fuck that. Holy shit! Like the people in North Dakota, Minnesota, and Illinois, like I feel so bad for them. And where Raiho they call it, where Raiho was, they call it winter peg because that's usually the coldest. Like minus like Alaska, but
that's crazy. It is nuts though. And I think they've hit records. Like I think it's like in 100 years they haven't been that cold in Winnipeg. So pretty bad over there too.
Jeez.
But yeah, just memeing. I'm waiting for spring. I just want to just give me like 10 degrees above freezing, and I'll walk around in shorts.
It's not even February yet.
You know your mind is fucked up when you live in the north of America or anywhere in Canada, and it's like 32 is freezing in Fahrenheit, right? And it's like it gets to like 35, and you're like, I think it's a shorts and a t-shirt day. That's when you've officially lost your fucking mind. Like in Colorado, it'll be like 25 and snowing. And it'll be 40 the next day, and there'll be like girls in like short shorts with like sandals on, and I'm like, Did I miss something?
Spring in Canada is my favorite time of year because I like to call it the time of year where no Canadian knows what the fuck to wear. It is you'll drive down the road and you'll see somebody in like a full parka with like a scarf on, and then up the road the next way is dude in just a sweater, and then somebody else in shorts and like sandals. It's out of control. It's just everyone has their own whatever, I don't know, personal gauge, but it's like this quasi no one knows what the hell to do. It's hysterical.
Funny. That's funny. Well, how have you guys been? We had last week off. Anybody see any good movies, any bad movies, or anything in between?
I don't think I saw anything.
I'll go first. Fuck it. All right.
Yeah,
I
do
saw 30 for 30 with Bob Knight. It was called The Last Days of Night. And if you're into basketball at all or sports in any way, shape, or form, probably for an hour and 45 minutes, one of the craziest documentaries I've ever seen. You want to talk about a roller coaster ride? Holy fucking shit. Like half the kids he coached like died just from like the 4 years of stress he put them through and shit. But that's all I'll spoil for now. But that's an amazing 30 for 30 if you like that series at all. And then I watched the 4-part series of Ted Bundy, which was it was pretty fucking epic. The first episode,
were you aroused?
No. I mean, you know, I visit some risky cliques before I watch the Ted Bundy series, but like the first episode, the pilot, the orc pilot, of course, you know, you learn about a lot of backstory and him growing up, but by the end of the first episode, into episodes 2, 3, and 4, like the cliffhanger on the first episode, you're like, holy fuck. Like, is this shit really going down? And then episodes 2, 3, and 4, it's you're locked in. Like, if you have work the next day, you're fucked because you're gonna get no sleep. But highly recommend it. I mean, I've only seen the first Paradise Lost. You know, the first season of Making a Murderer, but like it's the whole thing's just a 10 out of 10, 9 out of 10, I guess. But amazing.
Yeah, I've been intending to check those out. I've heard nothing but glowing things about that series. I was talking to you guys before we went live about how I was listening to the radio the other day, and there's apparently a trend going on where people are talking about how hot Ted Bundy was. Young women mostly talking about how hot Ted Bundy was. You know, giving him this like mysterious bad boy mystique, and it's like you realize he would have eaten your face off, right? You know, if he met you, he would have eaten your face. So, I
don't know what's wrong with people.
Yeah.
What is this show like? Is it a recreation or is it like news snippets?
So basically, like for people who are on the fence and are like, oh, it's like 4 hours and 15 minutes, so I really want to waste my fucking time. It's basically this guy who's not the director, but the guy who's like interviews Bundy throughout all the years, like his 10 years in prison before they killed him in the electric chair. He has like 100 hours of like recorded tapes. And Bundy doesn't want to say anything at first, like if he did it, and then he has ways of not really manipulating him, but like him going into psycho mode. And I'll just leave it at that. And so there's tons of like recorded voice footage, voice recording. Sorry. And then it has like pictures and videos of like him throughout his years and when he was killing people. The one lady who got away. She was in Utah, I believe, where they have NSA Mega Center now, and she like describes her whole ordeal and how she got away and all that shit. And yeah, that's the most I can say. But it's like photos, videos, people that knew him, and then tape recordings, I guess is the best way to put it. But it's fucking amazing.
Right on.
It's kind of interesting. You guys have probably seen the documentary Fire on Netflix, so you may have seen it when you're scrolling or whatever. But it just came out, and there's actually one came out on Hulu at the exact same time called Fire Fraud about the exact same thing. So I've been watching those. It's pretty funny.
Can you explain what they're
well,
about?
this Ja Rule and this other like big like mogul dude like basically screwed over a bunch of rich kids, saying they were going to put on this like huge intricate, really like nice and I don't even know the words, like the Kardashians and shit, all that bullshit, like this music festival. And basically it was just nothing. They just like totally ripped them off. And they,
was that the one on the island where all those fucking noobs showed up and then just what a bunch of fucking noobs.
Watching those people suffer is so entertaining to me. Like oh man. Like they paid like $250,000 to go to this stupid festival, and like they're staying in like a little tent with like a wet like mattress.
Oh my god!
I've got to watch that then.
It's funny.
I'll have to watch.
I saw the trailer for it, but I didn't.
It's kind of weird though. Like they're both good. I will say that, but yeah, I think the one on Netflix is maybe a little better production quality.
Right on.
Have to look into that. Lauren, did you catch anything recently?
I saw Glass. It was okay. There's nothing really to report there. It's what you think it is. Like any Shyamalan film, the ending doesn't quite really work if you look at it, but it wasn't painful. It wasn't The Happening.
I mean, that's
the bar, right?
That's praise. I mean,
I don't know. I gave up after The Forest. So,
Lady in the Water.
I've not watched Lady in the Water. I have seen.
I've not watched The Happening. I haven't watched the Lady in the Water. I haven't watched whatever else. The Visit. Yeah, I haven't watched. I watched Unbreakable, but that's it.
I did see The Happening because I heard that it was just awful, and I mean it lived up.
The Happening
to
was great because it had the guy from Ferris Bueller in it. Bueller's best friend, Cameron.
I forgot about
the teacher.
Forgot about him.
But fuck what everyone says. Man, like everyone wants to ride Eli Roth's dick and stuff. I like The Visit. I thought it was a good fucking movie. I enjoyed it. You're the one that gave it that one single positive review on Rotten Tomatoes, right?
It has 1 star because of you.
it was 66% because of your boy. That's what happened. Yeah.
Well done.
Wild.
Yeah.
I've not seen anything new. I've seen a lot of quite a few new Blu-ray releases, but nothing new. There's really not a lot of movies out other than Glass. When does John Wick Chapter 3 hit theaters?
February?
Next month?
I can't remember though. Chat, tell us.
I'm looking forward to that.
I am looking forward to that.
Yeah, looking forward to that. And then, I mean, I don't,
May.
May. Okay.
May.
So they threw that trailer out pretty, give us plenty of time to stew on it, I guess.
Yeah, it was a pretty beefy trailer too. It must be done. I don't know.
Yes, yeah. I kind of figured it would be February or March, but oh well.
The Happy Death Day sequel is the only thing in the genre coming out in the next month. That's on the 13th of February.
I liked the first Happy Death Day. I'm not sure how they can stretch that out into multiple, into a second movie, but it's kind of like, can there be a Groundhog Day part? Could there be a Groundhog Day sequel?
I'm gonna let you finish, but you saw it and you liked it. Did anyone else see it and enjoy it? Because I'm noob and I haven't seen it.
Yeah, I liked it.
I haven't seen it.
Yeah, fun movie. The woman in the lead gives a really good performance. It's fun.
Cool.
Let's see what's going on out in the chat tonight. Who have we got with us out in the chat? DJ Donley, Borderline 11. What's up? That's a new name, new viewer tonight. Hello, Borderline. Manny Gatillo, CBN Seagal, Darkness Falls, Gary Reeves, Joe Bob Tarheel, Josh O'Brien, Joe Caroluzzo. Resurrection Reviews, our buddy Steve. Nilbog 1987, what's up, man? How are you? Anthony Anderson, how are you? My buddy Robbie is watching with us tonight. He asks us, have you watched You on Netflix? I binged that yesterday and it was really good. You guys hear?
I'm watching it right now.
Okay.
My wife just finished it.
What's that about?
You can probably run with it better than I can, Jay.
It's the only reason I started watching, and I'm like 8 episodes in. I've had a lot of time working, so I'm able to watch that while I'm working. But it's Netflix said it was a 98% match for me, and I was like, all right, let's see if you're right, Netflix, you motherfucker. But no, I'm actually enjoying it. It's pretty good. It's about this guy who's like a psychopath, and he's stalking this girl, and he actually ends up dating her, and he's still a psychopath. But it really goes on and on.
Ah.
It's not bad.
I watched a few episodes with her, and I was like, it's kind of a weird show because he is a psychopath, and but they still kind of try to almost sell him like he's a good guy.
He's likable.
He's likable, and people like him, and he does nice things for people. But then he's so obsessed with this one woman, he'll do anything. He'll do it like anything will go. So it's like sometimes you're just sitting there like scratching your head, like where they try to go with this. Anyway. I watched the last episode with her the other day, so I kind of know what all went down, and it was interesting. She wasn't too fussy of it, but she did.
She didn't like the last episode.
No, just the show in general. She kind of it didn't. I think she watched it just because she liked Gossip Girl, and he was on that.
Okay.
It was. I think it actually started as a W Network show, and it failed horribly, and Netflix picked it up, and it just kind of took off like a rocket, and they finished producing it, and so there's another season coming.
I figured.
Yeah,
he's a rare book salesman, or like an old book salesman.
Mm-hmm.
So I've learned a lot about like how to repair old books.
Interesting, very interesting. CB and Seagal says Joe Berlinger, the director, is partnering the documentary with a film with Zac Efron as Bundy, and that James Hetfield plays the arresting officer, which is interesting casting choice. But yeah, I know about the Zac Efron Bundy movie. Interesting casting choice. I guess he looks like Bundy, kind of. A far more ripped version of Bundy. I don't think Bundy was ever quite that ripped, but
Bundy was about 6 inches taller too.
Yeah.
But I mean, you get the Efron, you want to see him pop that top off.
Exactly.
You want to see those abs.
It ain't an Efron film if he's not popping that top, Let's see. Stone Gassman, my buddy Stone is in the chat with us tonight as well. Also, Eric Freeman has a message for you, Orc. Wendy's is calling.
Well, in the middle of Shit Myselfsville, Maine, there are no more Wendy's that are open like within a certain amount of time driving. So I miss my Baconators and my Frosties. Like basically the whole fucking menu: potato, fucking baked potato with butter, fucking French fries. The new ones are dank as fuck. Don't get me started. We'll hit Friday the 13th and fast food. Every time.
I had a Frosty tonight, but I had them put I had to mix the chocolate and vanilla together. Oh,
what?
So
they'll do that?
You don't need to cleanse with water and just let your shit out. Just don't get a large Frosty. Just get it in a large soda cup, like a large Coke cup, and just eat that. Your toilet will be fucking white for weeks. Dog. Don't even fucking. That is the cleansing. Right
that's like God. That's good God. I can't imagine eating that much Frosty.
Oh my God.
Dude, I'm a fat fuck now. I used to get 2 large ones every fucking day after school, and I was 100 pounds fatter. So I'm fat as fuck now. Imagine me 100 pounds fatter in high school. It was awesome. It was the best time of my life.
My girlfriend and I went through a steak and shake. Do you guys have steak and shakes up there?
Oh man, so good.
We went through a steak and shake the other day at happy hour, and I was like, "Get me a large." I don't even remember what it was. And they literally handed out the window to me. It was like a milk jug. It was that big. I mean, my girlfriend and I looked at the thing like I was holding a baby. You know what I mean? Like, what? This is like 5 gallons of beverage. It was huge.
I have to see a picture. I'm just looking it up.
I was like, my God, that's a lot of drink, man.
Nice.
Anyway.
I can't find anything here. That's pretty big.
Yeah. Goodness. Oh, this year is the 50th anniversary of Wendy's, by the way. Stone Gaspin wants us to know. So
nice. Maybe we'll get some sweet deals on Baconators.
I think honestly, for all the chain restaurants, Wendy's wins hands down. Like McDonald's has dank fries, and they were the originators, but I mean, Wendy's has good fries. They're bacon, egg, and cheese sausage and bacon, egg, and cheese sandwiches are dank as fuck. I don't know if they still got the Applewood smoked bacon, but that was, dude, a triple Baconator. My record was four.
Do they do breakfast in the States?
They do. Fuck, it's Wendys.
They don't do breakfast in Canada.
She's an innocent little woman. Okay, they do everything. Okay,
nice. They do breakfast. I don't think they do breakfast here.
I don't think they do breakfast here either.
Oh shit! Well, I'm out of the loop. Fuck. God,
well, maybe they do where you are. I just know that like BK does it, but it's pretty shitty. And
in Colorado, like 10 years ago, they were doing breakfast, and they're like, "Look, we sell everything. Eat it."
The best fast food breakfast is still McDonald's. No contest.
Yeah.
I got a Baconator meal a couple days ago, and they gave me the son of Baconator, so I was raging pretty hard at this tiny little burger. They expect a grown man to eat.
Nothing like getting the wrong drive-through order, and then there's like 20 cars behind you.
Nice. We're getting Five Guys apparently in Halifax.
Oh man, those are great. Yeah.
Yeah, I've never heard of it in Canada before. I'm sure it's in Toronto and stuff like that, but the word is we're getting it, and I hear their fries are pretty dank, so I'm looking forward to that.
I want to start a restaurant. You know, I mean, like when you go to an upscale seafood restaurant, you can pick which lobster that you want to eat out of the tank. I want to go to a burger restaurant where you pick the cow. You get to go out and cut its throat. Okay.
This is getting intense.
You had me a cutthroat and cow.
Yes, you choose the cow. You cut its throat. Okay. You drag it inside. You do you get to get your you get to know the meat.
One with nature.
Exactly.
This seems like a good test. Like whoever does this needs to go on a list of some sort.
You're both free range, and you get to run with it in the grass. Amazing.
Yeah.
This is like the Ruggero Diodato restaurant.
One cow for every man.
The Burger Factory. There you go. Patent that shit right now. No one better take that shit. TM.
Yeah.
There you go. Good stuff. Well, what do you guys think about Ultraviolet shutting down? Have you guys got a bunch of Ultraviolet movies in the cloud that you're concerned about?
I have one. That's the only one I ever did. And I tried to register it with Flixster, but I don't even think that exists in Canada. So when I looked at the movie, it says like register with Flixster. So I have to see if I can register it with Sony and actually get it. But like I wasn't too worried about it, but like right in the fine print, they're like, the majority of your movies will still be accessible. And I was like, whoa. Like that's got to be spooky for some people. You're like,
a side rant. Unless you're doing some IP shit, the fact that Hulu isn't in Canada, does Fox not want to make money, or are they fucking stupid?
I don't understand.
When Cole told me that, I almost shit myself.
It's rights. I think they have a ton of stuff that they can't. Netflix has worked from the ground up. Like when Netflix first came to Canada, it sucked. And they've slowly worked the rights to get a lot of these shows. And they've done very well. Especially now that they have original content, they can put it wherever they want and all that stuff. But Hulu just never took that step. And I think it's because they have too much in their catalog that they could not get through the CRTC and actually have it's the only thing I can figure.
It's very difficult with a lot of legacy legacy IPs because different rights have been divvied out for different time periods. So it's a minefield of who owns rights in what territory and when those expire. And sometimes the rights don't expire at the same time. So it can be in limbo even though you own it. Yeah, any sort of broadcast or streaming is really not an easy thing unless you have so much money to throw around like Netflix that you can just steamroll right through. Because no one's gonna turn down Netflix because there's always another deal for a different project. But anyone else, it's tougher. But I wonder with Ultraviolet shutting down, and even if most of the content survives, my real question is, doesn't this affect those people who built a library anyway? Because now they're shifting services. Are they in the back of their mind has to be, how many more times am I going to do this shit?
Right.
Yep.
Well, Disney did that last year, I believe. They went from their Disney Anytime to whatever the hell it's called now, Movies Anywhere or something.
Yeah.
And
the thing about it is like they have to make this as seamless as they can for the user. Like I don't know, like I only had the one movie, and I went into it and it's like check out our other retailers or whatever it is, or connected retailers or something, because that's where you'll go and stream it now. But like I have one movie, but I have to go and re-register it with another service to watch it. Imagine you have, I don't know, 1,000 movies. Like there's bound to be 100 of them maybe that you have to sit down and painstakingly get your UV code if you still got it and punch it in and do all that shit, right? Like it's I don't know. And it might not be that bad for other people, but I had, like I said, mine was through Flixster, and you can't stream stuff through Flixster in Canada as far as I can tell. If you ever could, I don't know. So I have to go to another one.
Go ahead, Jay.
Oh, I was going to say, I've got all my stuff going through Voodoo. So, I mean, some of that stuff is, Ultraviolet. I know at one time I did have to go through Ultraviolet to get it on there. But so is that still going to be there?
I think you'll just go to Voodoo now. But you have to go and check all your titles. There's like, when you go to the website now, you'll click on it. It'll bring up your library. You can see the services that it can be connected to and which one it is.
Oh, okay.
And that's fine with me, because that's what I was asking, because like I don't fucking care about Disney movies for the most part. And then you Ultraviolet, I never went to their site anyway. So if like 75% of the shit that's in my library on Vudu stays there, and then I could still rent and buy movies that aren't part of Disnazi, like that's fine with me. So, but like Apple, I fucking hate, but Disney's getting up there, man. But they own so much. Like they own ESPN. They own, what is it, Fox? They own fucking, I don't even know what they own now.
They own ABC.
Yeah. Well, part of the reason that
ABC,
Ultraviolet going under is because Disney didn't hop on board. Like all the other major studios and even some of the indie studios were on board. Walmart was on board with them. But because Disney was like, no, I mean, that led to their downfall. I mean, that's how huge Disney is.
I just hope a lot of these companies, like Walmart, stands their ground. Amazon gets bigger. Comcast owns NBC and Universal. I hope they kind of acquire more shit too. And Disney just doesn't own everything along with fucking fagtard Apple in the future, because then I'll probably.
I'll go ahead. So say we got to draw a line somewhere. I mean, there's got to be a monopoly at some point.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. It seems like it's easier and easier to have a monopoly these days. I don't understand it, but
it is. Yeah. I mean,
to get pretty damn close.
Yeah.
Money talks.
Yeah, I remember back when like Microsoft was trying to buy into it, like back in the '90s, and they like blocked it because they said it was going to be a monopoly. It's like, I mean, that seems like much of a like less thing than like Disney buying Fox. Like those are two huge things together, and he's, I don't know. But yeah, you're right. It seems easier now than it used to be.
As long as everybody's making some cash. All the billionaires are patting their pockets. Nobody gives a fuck anymore.
Pretty much. I mean, that's unfortunately it. That's the same way it is with the ISPs in America. They're allowed to create monopolies. And
yeah, and like with all the monopolies and stuff, I just don't want it to be. One would be fucking terrible, because then they can do whatever they want. But I want AMD and Nvidia, Pepsi and Coke, at least two worst case scenario. But like 3, 4, or 5, that'd be okay. 3 or 4 or 5 different streaming services. You get to pick what you want. Some company owns certain rights to certain things with TV and movie shows. And then same thing with gaming. It's like Sony's headquarters in Japan, and that's where they originated from. But we own them as as a country. Sony America owns all that shit. Mm-hmm. So it's like Disney or just Fox. Just Fox, I think. I don't fucking know. Anyways, yeah.
Even like, and here's a weird example, but even like shelf space at a grocery store is monopolized. So like, say you start a beverage company and you want to get your beverage on the shelves next to Pepsi and Coke products. Well, Pepsi and Coke own those shelves. Do you see what I'm saying? But depending on what store it is. So if there's no shelf space for you, they're not going to make the shelves bigger just for you. there's no shelf space for you. So your little drink can't compete with the big guys because they own that shelf space. So that's
and they have at our grocery stores, it's always one end is Pepsi, one end is Coke.
Yeah.
And they have like most of the aisle. They have like a middle section. So basically, if you're coming in from this end, you're hitting one. You're coming in from this end, you're hitting the other first. And everything else kind of gets slammed in the middle.
It's like that here in the States, Raiho, and most, even though like Maine's kind of meh, but I like companies like Dr. Pepper, like because they kind of they like
Dr. Pepper is
Seven
like
Up
owned by Pepsi here, I think. So it just gets
well, I think
Pepsi.
7 Up is independent, and they're like, yeah, we're the 7 Up guys. Like they're just fucking sitting there in the middle, like just getting fucking smashed and orgied by Coke and Pepsi.
Fido Didos get taken it from both ends, yeah.
7 Up is part of the Snapple group.
Oh, really?
But so here's the problem, though. It seems like it blocks out smaller producers from those store shelves, but the pricing we're paying is directly a result of it. Like Coke and Pepsi are as cheap as they are, even though they are more expensive than we're comfortable with, because of that access. The moment that they don't have that access, the prices are going to raise on that item. So it's a complex picture, but the truth is, we all need to just really get behind the products that we really enjoy and support them. And unfortunately, anyone who has worked in grocery at any point will tell you that, Coke or Pepsi are always on sale one week or the other. Right. And too many people will buy whatever's on sale, and that just keeps the system going, exactly. Rather than if you're an RC fan buying RC, or if you're a Fago fan buying Fago, the ones that are never on sale, because they're simply not moving the volume. But if we all just really support what we think is the best and not try to save the 20 cents, it would break that. But the consumer never will.
I understand. Makes sense.
So is that why the distributor, when they drop it off, like they also set it up? They also like load, they stock it because they want it set a certain way. Like they don't want whoever owns the place to like not put it correctly.
Probably.
Like not display it correctly.
I would imagine so. Yeah. Yeah.
As long as the account is bringing in enough merchandise on a monthly basis, they get that as part of the deal. They get all the merchandising as part of the deal. And that works both ways, right? Because that provides them the space. It provides them the lack of putting their own workers out there to do it, but they have to buy the merch. So that means they have to sell the merch, which means it has to go on sale.
I have to say this, Lauren, but living in North America, but especially America, I fucking love going into Target, but especially Walmart, and seeing like, the Coke and the Pepsi guys come in, and like Pepsi's like, haha, we win, younger generation, you guys lose. And then Coke comes in and they stack up like 312 packs, and it's like, suck my balls. You're just like, that shit's hilarious. You're like, is this gonna even get drank before it expires? But they're like making like graffiti ancient ruins and shit, like Mayan temples with fucking Coke.
You would be shocked by how much soft drinks sell. Besides diets, which have a much shorter shelf life, the regular stuff, it always sells before it expires. You couldn't bring in enough. It's amazing.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we've got what they call them, the pop pirates around here. The people who you'll see coming out of Walmart with literally like 2 shopping carts loaded with pop, to the point where they've got like 6 packs lined up around like like squatting or like sides, I'm not even sure. Straddling the top of the freaking shopping cart. I mean, like they've spent.
I know I won't shut the fuck up tonight, but the best is when a game is about to launch. Like Mortal Kombat 11 will be coming out, and there'll be midnight launches for that shit everywhere. The best thing in the world. Go to a super Walmart, and you'll just see motherfuckers with like 3 carts. They got one hand on each cart and a fucking foot pushing the other one. There's no Mountain Dew in stock. There's fucking no Dr. Pepper. There's no Coke. There's like a family of like 4, and some like mom is just like, I just want to get 1 2-liter. Some guy's like, I'm gonna fucking be the best fucking scorpion in the world. Like a paladin, if it's like, wow. There's just like $300 worth of like.
All I heard from that was Super Walmart.
Super Walmart.
Super Walmart.
You're not familiar
did my
with Super
pick it up?
Walmarts?
I guess we have Walmart Super Centers. Maybe that's the same thing.
No.
I don't know.
The Super Walmart is the giant Walmart. It's the retail store. It's the supermarket, the pharmacy. All of
We
that
have
together.
that. Yeah.
Open 24/7.
Let me break it down to you. The Waltons reside in California. Wikipedia org history lesson, real talk. The Waltons reside in California, and they're all of them got at least a bill to their name, maybe $2 billion. And there are things in America that exist called Walmarts. Okay, I'm sure you're aware of this. Originated in Fayetteville, Arkansas. Now there are different kinds of Walmarts, Raiho. Don't be disgruntled and confused. There are regular Walmarts which don't have groceries, and they're probably small and they suck dick. And there's like nothing in them, no good electronics section. Then there's okay Walmarts, a little bit bigger, still no groceries. Then we have lower shit tier super Walmarts, where they throw some food aisles in. It's still all right. Then the next tier up, the ultra member of Walmart, is the epic super Walmarts, where if you go to I'm in the middle of Fucksville, nowhere, Pennsylvania, like where Cinema Sickness lives, their electronics section is like bigger than a Home Depot, and the food section's like bigger than like a regular grocery store, and then it's got all the other Walmart shit. Then like Costco, which you might have in Canada, they have Sam's Club. Yeah, so they have Sam's Club, and that's their big box store. And then these things like Costco and Sam's Clubs are the places to go when like a virus is killing everybody, and it's like Zack Snyder's like Dawn of the Dead remake. So
I feel like that's where the virus started. The virus started there.
Yeah.
It starts in an Oscar Mayer fucking bacon fucking.
if you need a 50-gallon drum of Jif, that's where you go get it.
I do love me some Jif, so I would get that.
You can go get your Pepsi
on the planet.
Get your Pepsi and your insulin in the same place.
Exactly.
We're gonna get to the show eventually, but creamy or crunchy? Creamy or crunchy, Raho?
Creamy.
Boom.
Toffee
creamy all the way.
Toffee 20 in the chat wants to know Doritos or Pringles.
Doritos.
Doritos, spicy nachos. Spicy nacho is the way to go. Of course, you got the classic Cool Ranch and regular nacho.
Jalapeno's pretty good too. Jalapeno's pretty good.
Oh shoot!
Salsa verde, I missed.
Some wavy.
Salsa verde.
Yeah, wavy.
Once you pop, you can't stop, and that's true with me and pills and Pringles. Don't you get it fucking twisted. Let's go, baby. I want to visit Kentucky though, because that is the mating call, and
The
I
Boone
have to
County
experience
mating
that.
call.
I just want to have those oxys and just shake it.
Here it is.
Just
walk into Walmart at about 11:30, 12 o'clock at night.
Oh.
Do that right there, and you are swamped. You are swamped. That's the bait and call.
Instead of like Russian mail order brides, it's like that's just the Kentucky way. That's just the South. Sorry, Jay, Mike, and Bisley. I gotta be a fucking douche, but yeah.
Geez. All right, let's go ahead. We got some talk of Mortal Kombat X in the chat now. People excited about Mortal Kombat X, as am I.
Street Fighter's the shit. It's the best fighting game franchise. Mortal Kombat. Sorry, I gotta say it.
I agree. Well, let's go ahead and dive into the topic at hand here. Let's talk about our most underwhelming / disappointing movie going experiences. Let's talk about some disappointing and underwhelming movies here.
You mean the experience itself or the movie itself?
Let's do both. Why not do both? Why not do both? Because we did an underwhelming movie show about 3 years ago. So I think we can do kind of an update on that show. And we can add a little something to it. But let's see who wants to go first tonight. Let's see. I just came up with an awesome nickname for Raiho.
Oh. Wait a minute.
Maverick, hit us.
Oh man, Maverick's so good.
That's tight.
Yeah. I'm already gonna make the t-shirt for that one. Start with me, okay? I've got a nice little list here. I'm gonna open up with Attack of the Clones.
Oh, nice.
That was that. Yep.
Because I just kind of started getting into Star Wars in the 90s or whatever, right? Catching them on TV. And then my good friend gets the pre-special edition trilogy on VHS. So we watch them all. We're pouring over these movies. I become obsessed with Star Wars. I love these movies. They come back to the theater, get to see them all in special edition on the big screen, and then eventually Phantom Menace. And I loved it. Loved Phantom Menace. Loved the whole thing. Was just like obsessed. During all that time, picking up bits of lore from other things, the thing that always came up was the Clone Wars. And like, I didn't know what that was. I just knew that there was this story behind the story, that there was at one time, this Clone Wars. And I had created all these ideas in my mind about how cool this was going to be. It was going to be like the Jedi were dragged out for years and they were all dying and just trying to fight off these clones and all this stuff. So when they came out with the second movie and it was called Attack of the Clones, I was like, here's my day. Here it is. And I went and saw that fucking movie. And I was so let down. I can't even begin. I thought it was kind of neat at first, that I was kind of like, okay, the clone army, that kind of becomes the stormtroopers. Like, I can see where they're leading into this. But the real death nail, of course, is in the next film, Revenge of the Sith, when basically the whole thing ends in like 30 seconds. They like Order 86 or whatever it is, and they just turn around and shoot all the Jedi and they just die. And the idea of this clone war that I had in my mind for so many years was just completely destroyed. That was one of I remember walking out of Attack of the Clones and I was absolutely just dragged out. That movie just killed me. So that's definitely one of my number ones.
I'm right there with you, with my love for the Phantom Menace as well, and being, I saw Attack of the Clones in the theater, and I just was like, it made me not want to watch Revenge of the Sith for years. I didn't watch Revenge of the Sith for probably 5 years after it came out, and I finally got it on DVD and watched it. But yeah, Attack of the Clones is just so.
That movie sucks the life out of you anyway.
It does. It just sucked the life out of me in the theater. I felt like I had to be dragged out. I remember more the ride home than the movie, and just how I just felt awful. That movie just blew. Awful.
Before Force Awakens came out, I picked up all the movies on Blu-ray, and my wife and I were like, "Okay, we're gonna watch them all. We'll watch the whole thing." And we did it the right way. We did the original trilogy first, and then we went into the prequel trilogy. And we got to Attack of the Clones. I was like, I don't know if I can do this. And she was like, I don't even remember it. So we watched it, and we basically made a pact from that day forward that if we ever do this again, we're just skipping Attack of the Clones. I've never watched that again. That movie, it absolutely drains you. It's just,
And nothing really significant even happens in that one, does it? I mean, I don't remember anything. I remember, isn't that the one where Boba Fett or Jango Fett gets his head cut off, right?
Yeah, well, and that's the other thing too. The clones, I had this other concept of the clones too, because there's books and there's clones of Jedis in the books, and there's all these cool things they do, and then the clones end up being a bunch of clones of Jango Fett. And so is Boba Fett, and just to tie Boba Fett into it, it was the worst thing ever. I was just sitting there like, this is not happening. I'm reliving it. I'm having flashbacks. So.
What are we drinking tonight, by the way, there, Raho? It looks.
I couldn't get to the beer. I couldn't get to the beer store, so I had a root beer a minute ago.
Stewart's
root beer. Yeah, and now I'm having a cream soda.
Very nice.
We were talking about soda. I wasn't gonna have the second one, and then I was like, damn.
What's Stingray drinking tonight?
That is water, man.
Water. Okay.
High quality H2O.
Some asshole bought French vanilla around here, so I just popped a bunch of these stackers here to get through the day.
What is that?
It's a Stacker 2 Blackjack Extreme Energizer. And it's pretty cool because it lists every single thing on planet Earth as a warning.
Yeah. It's probably about 3 grams of pure caffeine, Some like 8,000 times your daily dose of like B12 and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've got like most of these things on the back here, so I really should not be taking this.
We have 5-hour energy up here. It's probably the same thing. It's like a little shot. You just crank it. And,
I think that's a little better for you. But
yeah, probably.
Those don't work for me, man. I take them and just go to sleep.
Now, Stewart's orange and creams are so good. You've had a Stewart's orange and cream, right?
I almost bought one.
Oh, they're so good.
I hadn't had. I wanted their Wishniaks, my favorite. They're like a black cherry cola. They didn't have that, and they did have orange cream. And my other favorite, the other one I really like, is the lime.
Yeah.
So I wanted to get the lime. They didn't have any of the ones. So I went for two I hadn't had in a while. So it's really good.
The orange cream is like it's like a creamsicle drink, right?
Yeah.
I don't know. It's like they literally just melted a creamsicle and stirred it in and capped it.
Sounds good to me.
So good, man. So good. Also at Taco Bell now, they've got these like orange and cream slushes that are really good.
Orange and cream. So wow.
Yeah.
I'm glad Orc's not here. That would probably be a tangent.
Were there any others on your list?
I've got a whack on my list here. I didn't want to.
Oh, go ahead and give us a.
One of the ones, and I always talk about how much I love The Matrix, and the Matrix trilogy. But I have to admit, when I walked out of The Matrix Revolutions, that was one of the saddest moments of my life. It was subsequent viewings that made me see a spark in that film. But after coming off of The Matrix, which is this great kung fu action movie, great. And then you see Reloaded, and it's just kind of top tier action all the time. Yeah, whatever you want to say, but the effects and all that stuff in that. Going into Revolutions, and basically you had two movies with Neo in them, and then the third one, it's like, where the fuck is Neo? And just how that movie played out and everything. I literally walked out of the theater. I was there with my good buddy, and we walked out and walking past all the people going into the next showing, and one guy looked at me. He was like, "Oh no," he was like, "Is it that bad?" Like he could see it on my face. So I was that struck, and I was just like, oh. And then so my buddy and I were like, I worked at the theater, so it was free movies. So we just whipped up to Wendy's, got ourselves some food, and went back and we watched. I think it was like Scary Movie 2 or 3 was out at the time. Oh, yeah. Just like a palate cleanser. I was like, it's on the Late Show. Let's just go watch another movie. So we went and watched that to cheer me up, because that movie that knocked me. I see what they were doing now. I can follow the story. I can feel a little bit better about it, but at the time, that movie that kicked me in the gut.
No, that's the third installment, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I haven't gone back and revisited because I feel the same way you do, and I really think that it's like a movie that I really want to like, but I can't for some reason.
I can see what they were doing with the story, and I could see what they wanted, and I can sort of say, I don't know, they're filmmakers. They had a vision. They wanted to go through with it, but I don't know, being a viewer, that movie takes you just completely out of what they were doing with the first two. it just I don't know. It just completely sucked it out of me. So that movie that one killed me.
Yeah.
I know I've told this story before, but one of the only times I ever brought my dad to the movies, since I've been an adult, was Matrix Reloaded. And I was like, no, Dad, it's going to be really cool. You're going to love it. Like me and my brother, we basically drug him to see this movie. Mm-hmm. And he was not on board. I looked over when they were doing the cave rave scene, and he was not into it at all, man. His arm, he was like,
that is a very bizarre moment in that film. When every time I watch it, I'm kind of like, shit.
That was my one and only chance, and I totally blew it.
I remember being very, very underwhelmed with both the Matrix sequels. Mm-hmm. That first movie was just so, and it kind of came out of nowhere too. It was unexpected, and it was just. And then I don't know. I think they kind of, they overthought it. They were like, I think with the first one, they were like, let's just make a really kick-ass, bullet time, action flick. And then they were like, wait a minute, let's I don't know. Let's get pretentious, let's get let's you know, I don't know. Let's get deep here with this. Let's, you know, Neo is Jesus or something. It's like I'm not watching a Matrix movie for that. You know what I mean?
Well, that whole scene where they sit down, and they talk to the architect. It's got to be like I had to watch that scene. I don't know how many times to understand what that man was saying. Like where he's sitting in the seat, he's not blinking. He's just like trying to explain this, like what Neo is to him, and like you're sitting there like what? But like after subsequent viewings, I get it. But like how they expected people to like absorb that, like I just don't understand. What's that?
What's so bizarre there is the first film goes so far out of its way to actually show, not tell. It gives examples of everything, so that it's just completely different type of storytelling. And then the second film ends with this exposition dump that's like 3 hours long or something, and told over a conference desk.
Yeah. And it's like they just kind of move in and out of cameras of views of them, and it's like this means nothing. You're doing nothing. You're moving the camera to move the camera.
They really should have just put a intermission screen up and said, "Go research hard solipsism and come back when you're done."
Yeah,
because that's all they did for you.
Oh yeah, it's like French Renaissance fucking high. It's nuts. It's crazy. But they just lay it on you.
Not to go off on too big of a tangent here, but have you guys followed the Wachowskis' career since then? Like I know they did the movie with the space werewolf, Channing Tatum.
I watched the Channing Tatum one. Like when they did Speed Racers, their next movie. I think it was the next movie after The Matrix. I was like, I don't really want to watch Speed Racer, so I wasn't in on that one. And then I kind of lost track of them, and for a long time. And then I saw they were doing that Channing Tatum. What is it? Jupiter
Ascending?
Yeah.
Yeah, something like that. And that is a fucking turkey. That is a turkey dinner. That movie is just awful. I made it through it, but that was rough.
Yeah.
And that kind of just made me wonder, like, what are they at now? Like, what are they doing? They did that Sense8 show on Netflix, which is very popular, but I haven't watched it.
I haven't either. And they've done at least 2 seasons of it, I believe.
I think they even got to, even though it got canceled, they were allowed to end it. Like they even got some extra episodes and end it. So it was popular enough to get there.
I mean, it's like a lot of their stuff. It sounds so cool in concept, but the execution is just not there. I don't know what it doesn't work for me. Whatever's going on there.
Yeah.
Probably too. A lot of filmmaking now looks like The Matrix, and at the time The Matrix came out, nothing looked like that. So I think the visual style really helped it get its popularity. But within a couple of years, you had the Resident Evil and Underworld films aping its style, and then it came to television. I don't think it's really they can't just rely on just a visual sense anymore.
Yeah.
The coolest stories that The Matrix, like outside of the first film, and I do have a love for the whole series, but the Animatrix has some of the coolest shit in it.
Yes.
If you ever get a chance to watch it, if you haven't, like they really it was a bunch of anime creators, and they stepped back and they actually just said, okay, here's the world, let's do some cool stuff. Like there's a whole story where this noir detective is trying to hunt down Trinity because he's like learned about her through just through like word of mouth, and who is this character, and it's this super cool thing where he's just trying to find her. Who is she? She's this like mysterious thing, and there's this whole thing with the kid, and there's these really cool stories based in the world. And I what I want for the next Matrix film is for the Wachowskis to be not involved, and someone else come in and make a movie. But I don't know if that's possible. I don't know what kind of rating.
Yeah, because the Animatrix came out after the first film, right? Like in between.
It was like in between.
Reloaded.
And the story about the kid that I mentioned. Like the kid is in the second movie, and he's this minor character, but it sort of gives you an idea of how he got there. And the only reason for that was that apparently the Wachowskis, if they got to do another trilogy, he was going to be the next main character. So they were trying to like set him up, kind of a thing. So, but it was kind of cool. They had somebody else come in. I don't know if they had involvement with the writing, but they had all these different people come in and do these really neat stories. It was right around the same time as Final Fantasy, I think Spirits Within came out, and they had like this really like crazy like animated short that was on it. I think it was called like The Last Flight of the Osiris, and that really bridged it. That was actually all about some characters in the next movie, and then that was one of the main drivers of the actual DVD release. But it's really cool if you haven't seen it. I definitely recommend checking that out.
Stone Gassman in the chat mentions the Wachowskis. I'm not sure if it was their first movie or not, but Bound. Have you guys seen Bound?
Yeah, I like Bound.
Yep, I do too. It's been a few years since I last saw it, but yeah, I always thought it was weird that they jumped from Bound, which was a very sort of grounded, noir kind of movie, to The Matrix, which is.
Well, I think the Matrix was their love of anime, and they wanted to make a live action anime film. And what they did good in that film, like Lauren mentioned, is they didn't overdo it. It's all on the screen. They had some cool fight scenes. Like they had gun fights, not a lot of kung fu. In the next movie, they were like, let's have a lot of kung fu. Neo doesn't touch a gun, I don't think. It was kind of a weird step. I don't know where they were going with it exactly, but the first film just is tighter.
Yeah.
Watching Bound now, after they've both transitioned, it's hard for me not to think about different things watching the film.
See, I knew that one of them had transitioned. I didn't realize the other one had too. So
they both yeah.
Okay, wow.
It's Lena and anyway, they both transition. So that's why they're like the Wachowskis now. Because for a long time, the funniest part was that they were Wachowski brothers, but really they were both transgender. So it's kind of funny they even left that moniker on there. But now, yeah.
I'm just waiting for the later two Matrix sequels to transition into good films.
Oh,
it's funny.
Whew. Getting hot here.
Funny.
Told you.
All right, good stuff. Good stuff. Let's we'll come back around, Rahul. We'll come back around.
Sure.
Lauren, I've been told you've got some bombshells for us, so let's hold off on you for right now.
That's fine.
If you're going to be dropping bombs, let's wait. What do you got for us, Stingray?
Well, I saw just going to come out of the gate with the Alien Covenant.
Okay.
I've been pretty outspoken about my distaste for that film.
I agree with you.
And it's that I was such a fan of the series, and Ridley's back. Oh, it's gonna be so good. I actually did have pretty high expectations for the film, and I was not happy. Like, I'm one of the people that actually liked Prometheus quite a bit, and I was, now that he's determined to bring these two worlds together, which I was totally cool with it being a separate thing, but now he's forcing these two together. It makes me dislike Prometheus more, for one, but Alien Covenant is horrible. It's trash. It was a terrible experience. Very, very, very disappointing.
I'm so glad I have a love for the Alien franchise, and Prometheus I was so lukewarm on that I just decided to sit out Alien Covenant and just see what happened. And I saw the reaction to it, and I was like, I don't think I can do it. I just love at least the first two, but I do like the first 3 or 4 in their own way.
Yeah.
But I just can't do it.
I know you and Cole saw the Predator film, and you may not like that film. It's not the greatest. It's not. I mean,
I
it's
thought that
underwhelming
was
at best.
A dumb action movie. It was just silly.
Yeah.
At least it wasn't. Yeah, it wasn't trying to be something haughty, and like they got Ridley back. Like that was like the thing, right? For Prometheus, they got him back. It's like, what is he gonna do? And then he's like, it's not really an alien movie. Well, it kind of is. There might be an alien in there. Who knows?
Well, that was his answer. Covenant was his answer to people being upset with Prometheus not being an alien movie. He said, "Okay, you want an alien movie? I'm going to wedge them both together."
It's like he was trying to prove a point, and yeah, it's not what I want to see.
I saw somebody in the chat earlier say that Prometheus was underwhelming to them. And I think you can go back and forth. I mean, I really liked Prometheus too. I thought it was a kind of a ballsy move to take it in that direction, but I liked it. I liked it for what it is. But yeah, Alien Covenant, I was just totally. I mean, I was hyped for it because it was, it was an alien movie, and it was Ridley Scott, and there were questions from Prometheus that I thought would be answered here, and it was none of that really happened. It left us with more questions, and
all right, I'm calling that out. I'm calling that out right there, because the original Alien, poses all kinds of questions, doesn't answer it, and it's a classic. I think there's a double standard with this series, and this is eventually going to get to my list anyway. But Alien Covenant is not a great film, but I think that people put a lot of baggage on it. I really do. If you want to compare it with something like the Alien versus Predators or even Alien Resurrection, it's a better film than those. I mean, I
Covenant
think that
or Prometheus?
Either. I think.
Yeah.
I think that people have put their expectations on this series in a very weird space. And I think there is a weird double standard that tends to apply to these films that we don't apply to other things. I find it hard to believe that people would accept the failings of, say, the Halloween film that came out last year so willingly and not give a pass on Prometheus having character moments that don't completely make sense. I don't know. It's just very weird to me.
Well, just imagine if John Carpenter had come back and made, since you don't like the Halloween film, I mean, imagine if John Carpenter was back and that's what he made. You know, I mean, that's kind of the way I feel about,
I get that. I get that, but I think that at the same rate, I don't think it would have helped Halloween 18 to be made by John Carpenter if that's the film that came out.
No, I don't either. Yeah,
my opinion would have been in the exact same place. I think there's a lot of good stuff in Covenant. Covenant feels rushed. That's my biggest concern with it is that basically the entire last act feels like it's like, I don't know, 10 minutes long, and it needed to be equal to the rest of the film. But I think there is a lot of good stuff in the film. I think a lot of people didn't want the answers that they did get to. They didn't want the alien race to have been created by David, and they just resisted those concepts, which I'm not telling anyone how they should feel about things. I just, I can't get the hate for it.
I didn't mind the aliens being created by David because David, David wants to be God. He wants to create a race or something, better than man. He wants to outdo God. You know what I mean?
Right.
I just thought the characters sucked. I thought it felt beyond rushed to me. It felt like it wasn't even like they were going off of an incomplete screenplay. And it was just like, you want aliens, here's your aliens, screw the characters. I don't know. It feels like the best parts of that movie hit the cutting room floor.
But I mean, again, we both like, Prometheus. I mean, that was widely panned,
Yeah.
by many people. And I actually liked it quite a bit.
Yeah. I like Prometheus a lot too.
So, I mean, it's not like we're not, the target audience for this thing. It's just, I don't know. I'll give you this. Covenant is better than Resurrection. I'll give you that. I don't agree with that.
I'd rather watch Covenant again over Resurrection. Resurrection just.
I want to watch Ripley slam dunk in that basketball.
Oh God.
Over and over. I actually have that just set up all the time on this screen.
Hey, you need an every film that ends with a big dumb puppet. That's what you need.
I cried so hard when he died at the end of that, and cried so hard.
I was crying tears of joy that movie was ending soon.
I think I watched Resurrection maybe 3 or 4 times in the theater.
Really?
In honor of B-Movie Mike, as we're talking about basketball, it's almost March Madness. Mark hooping it up here. Best country in the world, the B-ball. Anyways, the point I'm trying to make here is I saw Escape from New York, and I was like, this is pretty awesome. I got the Scream Factory edition before they became a bunch of fucking faggots, upping all their prices. Sorry, I had to say it. I know it's one of those words, like Tom Segura says. Anyways, I watched Escape from LA for the first time, and I watched B-Movie Rex review, and he's like, hey man, seeing Snake hook it up is pretty awesome. And that scene alone when he's like, he's gonna die unless he what is he like slam dunks or has to make like a half court shot or something.
Where they play a game of horse or something, don't they?
he has to make like a full court. He has to make a half court shot that he nails. Then he has to make a full court shot that he nails.
And didn't Kurt Russell actually make those shots? I mean, I don't know how many times it took him, but I heard the commentary.
I'm trying to remember how the full court shot is actually shot. If you can tell if it's seamless, I can't remember now. It's been a while since I watched it.
It's like New York is a classic, but LA is just that movie's and the CGI is so shitty. That's like That's John Carpenter's Mortal Kombat, basically.
That movie's fucking terrible. Yeah, that's another one that should go on my list.
It's fucking great. I love
Ghost of
it.
Mars.
I bet Ghost of Mars on there
Ghost of
too.
Mars
Yeah.
Ghost of Mars is somehow
Ghost
worse.
of Mars is great.
And-
I love Ghost of Mars.
So Ghost of Mars actually is on my list.
I was expecting you to put something like that on your list.
Yeah, well, specifically because like John Carpenter's one of those guys I always give the benefit of the doubt to, and I want to live that way. That's one reason I haven't seen The Ward yet, is because I don't want to be disappointed ever again in him. But Ghost of Mars there was clearly a really troubled production history. Courtney Love was in the main role, and she dropped out apparently because she hated the screenplay. Think about that for a while. And right. And
I was spit my cream everywhere.
they got Natasha Henstridge from Species to come in like at the last moment. She didn't even know her lines because she was literally off the plane and like shooting within an hour. But Ghost of Mars is just unwatchable. It really is an awful, awful, awful film. And
Lauren, can I rebuttal here?
Sure.
I just have a soft spot for John Carpenter's Vampires, which is a way better movie, don't get me wrong, and Ghosts of Mars, because back when pay-per-view used to have all-day tickets where you'd pay like $5 and you could see the movie on like for a 24-hour period, reruns over and over and over. Those two movies, John Carpenter's Vampires and Ghosts of Mars, I watched. I think I got both of those on all-day tickets like for a week straight, and I just like rotated each day, so I like both of them. But sorry, go ahead.
Have you ever read the novel that Vampires is based on?
I'm a dumbass, and I've read like Goosebump books and Brave New World in 1984. And that's it, man.
So John Carpenter's Vampires is really frustrating because the whole point of the novel, the title is Vampires, and the final S is a $. The whole point is that the James Woods character is just doing it for cash. That's it.
Oh.
It's about capitalism. The whole thing is about capitalism. And when they made this movie, that got buried, and basically, I always wonder if Twin Peaks fans hadn't shown up for Cheryl Lee, if that movie would have made any money at the box office. Because it is later Carpenter gets to be tough. Because we all want them to be great, because the high points of Carpenter is as high as cinema gets.
Like James Woods as an actor, and especially in that movie, and especially on Twitter, oh man, he's the fucking man. Like I want to like get a MAGA hat just because of James Woods. He's like that inspiring. Like, he's
James Big Dick Woods.
Oh, you're gonna fucking die. And I was like, yeah. Okay, sorry.
I feel like Ghost of Mars got a little derailed, but you were basically saying that it's a train wreck of a film, but you think it works? Is that what you were getting at?
Ghost of Mars? No.
Yeah. Okay, I thought I heard you say that it works somehow. I was like, okay.
No, if I said that, then
I clearly misheard you. I can't imagine you saying that.
kind of the same thing though for me. Toby Hooper for gothic horror, like American gore gothic films, is top of the heap. And then you walk in to see Spontaneous Combustion as a midnight movie, as I did, and your heart just sinks scene by scene as you realize what you're watching, and that it's just not going to get better.
Yeah.
And it doesn't even feel like it's producing on the same level. I think that's where a lot of my big disappointments, because disappointment doesn't mean you just didn't like the movie. It means that you went in with high expectations. And when you see these classic horror directors from the modern age in decline, that's really where my biggest disappointments come from. I'm glad we never had to go through it with Cronenberg. Existence hinted that we might be getting it, and then he went to make action films, which I'm thankful for, because we never had to deal with that from Cronenberg. But honestly, like your Hoopers, your Carpenters, your Cravens, the later stuff can be really tough. And I was dumb enough to buy a tip kit every time, hoping,
I'm in the same boat as you. I haven't watched The Ward. I just can't have that happen again.
Yeah, I mean, I can't say you're missing out on anything. It's not a bad movie, but it doesn't, there's nothing in that movie that says this is a John Carpenter film. Even in Ghosts of Mars, there you can kind of, okay, this is a John Carpenter movie. There's the musical cues, the wide angle shots, just the sets, it has that feel of John Carpenter. You don't get that from The Ward. The Ward's a better movie than Ghosts of Mars or something like that. But it's just it doesn't feel or look like a John Carpenter.
Fuck you, Piz. You take that back. Ghost of Mars is a fucking masterpiece, okay? You got Jason Statham wearing his stupid-ass fucking glasses. He looks more nerdy than me.
I forgot Statham was in that movie.
That's right. Yeah.
The first time
a guy comes out and he goes,
the first time I watched Ghosts of Mars, I had a fun time watching it. I mean, it's bad, but I thought it was at least somewhat entertaining. Trying to watch it again, no. I don't think I made it all the way through. But
it's like you think that it's a movie about an Ice Cube imitator fighting a Marilyn Manson imitator, then you realize it really is Ice Cube.
Right.
And it's kind of just the surreal nature of it doesn't really come off, because scene by scene you have elements of this, Precinct 13, and you have other elements in there that you keep seeing that it is a John Carpenter film, but none of it's working, and it's painful.
Right.
Painful.
Well, and that was the movie that, after it was over with, Carpenter was like, I'm done. And I mean, he didn't direct anything for years until The Ward. And I mean, they must have thrown a fortune at him to do that.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, maybe if you have like a lazy Sunday afternoon and you've got nothing going on, you got 90 minutes to burn, pop in The Ward. I mean, it's not a waste of your time. But it's not, like I said, there's really nothing about that movie that says this is a John Carpenter film.
I convinced myself that if he did another film and it was really good, and everyone was like, wow, he did a good movie, I'd watch The Ward. And I was like, because then I'll have that one to back it with.
Yeah, I mean, it's odd that would be the final chapter of his directing legacy, The Ward, because it's a movie that doesn't even feel like a John Carpenter movie. But yeah. And the thing about spontaneous combustion is spontaneous combustion starts out really strong, I think. And then you just see it slowly crumbling into an absolute mess that, by the end, I mean, that movie had a horrible production, too. So.
You talking about the Brad Dourif film?
Yeah, with Brad, yeah.
Oh, man, I like that film.
Yeah. It had a horrible production history too, and it was just a mess. But let's see.
I want Carpenter to stop boring doing music and just give us one more film. Just have a studio, some old friend from one of these big ass studios. Just throw like 50 mil. Just make a film. Just one more.
I don't think he'd have any trouble getting something off the ground. I think he just doesn't, it's too much, it's too much effort. And he's making
soundtracks are great, just give him as much weed as he wants. Give him 10 million, just to have a great time. Fielder's choice on actors and actresses. Just don't include Harvey Weinstein so the film doesn't just automatically end up in the shit can. We're good. We got just
I don't think Harvey's going to be doing anything for him.
No, yeah, don't worry about that.
There's going to be somebody to watch his back for him, though.
Yeah.
Our old buddy Jack Craven is in the chat tonight. Jack, we've not seen you in a while. Hope you're doing well. He mentions Resident Evil as a big disappointment for him. So,
yep.
Yeah, good to see you, Jack. It's been a while.
That one was more of a shock for me than a disappointment. What? It starts off in the mansion, everything's cool. All of a sudden, it's like we're in the basement. Everything's glossy, guns everywhere.
Yeah.
I don't know what's happening. They're flipping.
Disappointment if you mean the second best video game movie of all goddamn time. Then fuck yeah, that franchise.
That movie surprised the shit out of me. I was just like, I don't know where this came from.
Resident Evil, all the movies.
Yeah.
Also, our buddy Chris Wynn is out in the chat tonight. Chris, hope you're doing well. Well, not to get too sidetracked here, but speaking of Resident Evil, is anybody playing the RE2 remake? Riho. How is it?
It's excellent so far. It's so bizarre because I assumed that they were going to do their own thing, and it's so faithful. It's like taking a step into that game you played, whatever it was 15 years ago, and it's just a little bit different. but it's a true survival horror game. It's not. They've taken all the good things that they did with Resident Evil 7, where they made it really scary. They've taken all the good things from the original Resident Evil games, and they've just kind of put them together. And it's just like you could hope that they could do, but you never would have expected. I guess is how I would put it. I've only played it. I'm still in the precinct, but it's just really, I'm really enjoying it.
Yeah. That's third person.
Yeah, it's third person.
Cool.
Over the shoulder, but it's not like Resident Evil 4, where like you're like it's more about the shooting. It really it's pretty basic. You get the reticle or whatever. You don't get a lot of ammo. A lot of times I find myself just like maybe popping a few shots into a zombie and running, because you can sit there and try to shoot them. It's not a tactical shooter in any fashion. It's all about the horror. So I've still got like the basic gun. I'm sure that I'll get better guns as it goes, but yeah.
Raiho, did you play The Last of Us?
No, I don't know. PlayStation.
Outlast 1 or 2?
Outlast?
Yeah.
No.
Okay.
I've not.
You
tried.
Can you do like a video review of what you thought of the game once you complete it?
Yeah. I will.
So in like 3 months, because you're busy all the time.
Yeah, it's gonna take me forever. I'm sure it's only like a 10-hour game. It's gonna take me like forever. But
that's not a knock. It's just Raiho.
Yeah. Hopefully before May. But
Well, what else have you got on your listing, Ray?
Orc already mentioned The Happening. And I'll go with The Happening just because not only was it a terrible movie, but it was a terrible experience. That was at the end of when I said I'm too old to go like to the late night show on Friday night when the film opens, because I was just surrounded by children on their fucking phones, and they wouldn't shut up. They didn't care about the movie at all, and plus the movie was garbage anyway. So.
Yo, Jay, what'd you say? I'm trying to watch the TSF. What's going on?
Yeah, turn your brightness all the way up and like play on Facebook the entire fucking time you're watching the movie.
Yeah,
or play like one of those mobile games that's very loud and annoying. Yeah,
you're like what is it, Farm Simulator or whatever.
Yeah.
Oh, no, Farmville, Angry Birds, and Candy
Farmville,
Crush.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, The Happening even kind of starts out good. I mean, because you've got Marky Mark talking about how the death of if honeybees are wiped out, I mean, mankind is next, right? I mean, that's something interesting to think about. That's a great setup. And then it's like everybody's killing themselves. What's making everybody kill themselves? It's the trees.
It's the trees, Paulie. Hey guys, it's the trees.
So that's serious. Serious Mark Wahlberg is whispery Mark Wahlberg. That's it. That's the only difference.
When the granny puts her head through the window and she's fucking walking around outside, that was kind of scary. I'm not gonna lie. I was like, oh, she's fucking possessed. It's like a House on Haunted Hill when she's on the skateboard back in the day.
Just throw a lab coat on that fucking gorilla and put a pair of glasses on him. He's a scientist. Everyone will believe that he's a scientist.
Yeah. That's like the only change. It's like how Mark Wahlberg is trying to be serious is his say hello to your mother for me. That's it. You
just do a lot of stuff like.
Dude, some of the best moments from that movie, I tried so hard because I try to be respectful, like an actual human being when I go to just like these pub theaters that aren't Alamo Draft Houses. When the Jeep goes like full speed into the tree, and I've only seen the movie once in the theater, and it just crashes and everyone dies in the Jeep. I was trying so hard not to break out laughing. I had like a mouthful of Coke Zero and I was like shoving popcorn into my face. And everyone was like, "Oh my god!" And I was trying so hard not to laugh. Like
maybe I do have to watch this movie. I don't know.
It's so bad it's good. I would think.
It's like one of those ones on TV all the time, and you throw it on. I see Mark Wahlberg kind of be like whispering, like you guys said, and I'm out. No.
So a Jeep crashes into a tree, and there's people like hanging themselves like all over the place, and then Mark just goes, look at my face. He goes, "Oh no!" He says something like that.
Well, what's even dumber is that once they realize that it's the trees, they go, well, we need to go hide. Where are we going to go hide at? In the forest. You know what I mean?
Logical. I mean, really.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the only logical thing to do.
This was like the third time I had fallen for he's back. Shyamalan's back with a new good one. He's not shitty anymore. He's got a good one coming.
Was this one before or after Lady of the Water?
After.
This was after.
Okay, so I checked out After the Forest. After I, as a joke, called the ending of The Forest while I was watching, I was like, I bet this happens. And then it did. I was like, okay, I'm out.
The village.
The village.
The village, that's the one. I keep calling The Forest, sorry.
You'd think that the trees would be kind of okay with bees, though. I mean, as things go, it's a weird enemy to take.
It's kind of like a symbiosis type thing, right?
Yeah, really.
I guess the trees thought, well, hey, let's just kill the bees first, and then because of the lack of pollination, the humans will die next. And then they were like, screw it, let's just kill the humans too.
Trees live for 300 years or something. They have enough time to warm up without going to bees. I mean,
when you say the trees, I have to know, are the trees actually chatting? Is this a directed effort? They kill the bees on? I don't. You know what? I'm just gonna have to watch this movie. I'm just gonna have to watch this movie. I just have to know now.
Don't blame us though. Don't
I
watch
won't.
it.
I won't.
No. Watch it drunk.
I'm perfectly good at watching a shitty movie. It's one of my favorite things to do. I'm a visual media masochist.
The only thing that could save that movie would be if at the end all the trees burst open and all the bees were inside the trees, controlling the trees. Attacking the people.
You know what?
That would have been cool,
right?
Fuck bees. So, fuck bees.
Did you ever know what a bee?
It's such borderline because it's trying to be good. I don't know.
I'll never forget it. He's got his hairs to the side, and just a bunch of people start dying, and he just goes, "Oh no!"
and then he just pull a bunch of fat stacks out of his pockets like he would do. Mark.
Pretty much.
I'll be making Deepwater Horizon, still doing.
One of my favorite things that I ever saw Marky Mark do was, I think it was that TV show Wahlburgers.
Oh gosh.
And he's shooting hoops with his brother. And all of a sudden he's like, "You want to put a wager on it?" And his brother's like, "What?" And he just out of nowhere pulls out a wad, like a fat stack, just out of his pocket. It's like he had it on him the whole time, and it's in his hoodie, and he's just like, let's throw some money on this next shot. And I'm just sitting there that is the most Marky Mark thing I've ever seen.
We're at Stacks and Food. One of the most hilarious things, Christy Elliott made fun of it. You laughed at it, and I showed Jay. Right how I showed both of you guys. Yeah. Mark Wahlberg, for some reason, he'd fucking kiss everyone's ass on Instagram. And at 5 o'clock in the morning, Eastern Standard Time, he'd always wake up every day. He'd be in a helicopter, a private Trump helicopter, ready to go running 3 miles or some shit. And he'd be like, you got to get it. It's 4:50. It's 4:55 in the morning. We're getting it. I'm in the gym. He's got 50 trainers who probably do all the work for him. He probably doesn't even have to fucking do anything. He's like, we're getting it. We're running. We're in the system. And then at the end, just to fucking suck everyone off. At the end of the video, he's like, I just want to give a huge thanks to cancer research and the Navy and the Army and the Marines and the fucking Air Force and. Let's get it and believe in yourself and don't give up on anyone. And I'm like, fuck it, go fuck yourself. I can't stand this shit. And this was every day for for 2 months or something. And then Christy Elliott made a video on YouTube, and he's like,
"That's one of the funniest things I've ever watched." That is one of the funniest. That video is unbelievable. That man is brilliant.
Yeah,
but he made that video because. He made that video because Marky Mark posted that shit every fucking goddamn morning for all fall this past fall. So, and then he made that video, and I almost died laughing. It was hilarious.
I want to see that video from you, Art. I want to see you doing I got it at 6 o'clock in the morning video.
It's just I'm eating a McGriddle and going to sleep at the same time.
Yeah, I'm eating a McGriddle, and the lights are coming up. I'm shutting the shutter. I mean the windows. Pulling over the curtains and eating my McGriddle and passing out and falling on my face.
I mean,
let's get it.
Mark Wahlberg's he's a hard guy to dislike though, because he makes a lot of movies for one. He's got a pretty strong work ethic, but I don't know, man. He's done some decent stuff before, Mm-hmm.
No, but it's when you say with religion, MMA guys, they're they're like thanking God and shit, and they're not like hardcore religious. They're not like about that life, as they say. I don't care what fucking road we go down. It's all it's all open here on TSF. But
Marky Mark has worked with Peter Berg so much that I want Mark Wahlberg to do sort of a reboot / sequel to Shocker.
I thought you were gonna say Battleship.
I'd be on for that. And Cameron, how's it going, man? How you doing?
Doing great. Are we still on the topic, or have we divulged?
We've segued.
We've been in and out.
Okay.
Exactly.
We've gone to Burger King, Walmart. We've been fucking everywhere. We've been to the North Pole.
You know how it is.
And
you know how it is.
Yeah.
And the Walt Burgers, apparently. So that's good.
We've been all over the map.
We haven't hit Friday the 13th yet, though. So wait for that. Wait for it.
No, I haven't seen the whole show yet. So I'm just asking, what are we defining as disappointing movies? Movies that we thought were going to be great and turned out to suck? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. My whole life on film. The Orc Show instead of the Truman Show. Got him.
Well, let's see. Stingray, you gave us, how many did you give us?
Just 2, but yeah, why don't you come back to me?
Okay, I'll come back to you. Lauren, okay, hold on, Lauren, hold on. Orc, let's save those bombs for one more round. Orc, what have you got for us, bro?
Bombs over Baghdad. Here we go. All right, I'm not talking about Outkast either, man. One of the greatest rap groups of all time. Most disappointing movies for me. Wow. Let's see. Well, like I joined YouTube. I'm going to be a nostalgia fag here for a sec. In 05, I'm into Count 06 because of this Rypro guy over here being a noob, making me go to the store and watch the fucking first Friday the 13th DVD box set over and over and over with the fucking commentaries. Anyways, so I gotta go with. Go ahead.
I said your life's better for it.
Yeah. Oh, hell yeah, dude! I found out a lot of awesome food like Humpty Dumpty and shit like that. But yeah, around probably 2010 is when everyone was on YouTube, pretty much, I'd say. And the movie reviewers and especially horror reviewers who are on the tube. Some have gotten bullied off and left, like Ms. Pool. That guy was fucking awesome. I wish he'd come back. A lot of them are still here. Most of them are on the show. But we're like, check Let the Right One In. That's a pretty good movie. So I'm like, all right, check it out. Probably my favorite vampire film alongside Blade. And then they're like, Martyrs is pretty good too. And fuck that movie. Film and what a piece of shit. That erased from history. I had a man, to just like look at it and just erase it from my fucking mind completely. Existence that movie is. So that's one. Do I need to disappointment? Mortal Kombat Annihilation, even though it's a guilty pleasure. I love that movie. Yeah, more cheesy than extra cheese Kraft in a box. But I don't know what other films. I don't know that movies. Martyrs fucking blows. Harry Potter films. Oh, Pirates of the Caribbean. All those movies fucking. I can't stand them, and people just like come all over the place. Johnny Depp's a great actor, but I can't. Like the Harry Potter movies, all those, and then all the Pirates of the Caribbean movies, they just all fucking suck, in my opinion. Can't do it. Won't do it.
Okay, fair enough. Okay, I'm not a fan of Martyrs myself. I heard just glowing.
Oh, glowing. I didn't know we talked about Martyrs.
Yeah, that was his number one.
That was number one on Orcs.
Oh, okay.
Well,
Here's how Martyrs. Here's how every fucking review was for Martyrs back in like 09, 10, or 11, whenever the fuck that shit fucking hole of a movie came out. Here's how it would start. Hi guys, I'm reviewing Martyrs today, and then they'd hold up their like fucking shitty Dimension Inside fucking DVD. Like, this movie was so shocking that it left me speechless. It looks like some Grudge movie. They're just hanging there, like their mouths like hanging wide open. And then, every other foreign film, like Rec and Rec 2, I was like, wow, these are fucking amazing. And then I got let down by so many people. And then there was a guy who started collecting UV codes, but oh no, that's gonna come to a stop real soon. Wait for it. Oh no. Oh, no.
Shit.
No. I just want to thank Pizzle for being a very intellectual and caregiving of just an amazing human being from Eastern Kentucky. That's all I'm gonna say for right now. That's actually my most disappointing fucking anything in life right there. Ooh, too soon? This might get spicy. We're gonna just put the laptop back over here and just mute the mic. No more Ultraviolet. Feels bad, man, in the chat.
Oh my god! All right, man. Wow.
What's happening?
I
I
don't
have
know.
to say,
Well,
I was kind of like watching a film with a different film subtitles over it. I didn't catch anything that just happened.
I was
I
I
got
zoned
blacked out.
out for a minute. I felt like I lost some time.
Well,
What,
the
what's
cool
happening?
the cool thing is now I know that I need to do a Martyrs review on my channel and do exactly like Org said. I'm just gonna hold up my DVD and be like, "This movie's so shocking."
Every moment of this movie shocked me to my core.
No, you got the perfect idea. I want you to do a review and just like get everything wrong on purpose, like Halloween. But
Yeah.
This was directed by Wes Craven, 1979.
That's my dream.
Amazing
That is my
masterpiece.
dream. Is to do like a whole
I
series of
break
films
out
where I would completely just like confuse the remake with the sequel and add in things from the everything from all
That's
the
something
all the
that you,
franchises.
Lauren, and B Movie Mike can do, but I could never keep a straight face. I can't even make sentences half the goddamn time. But you could just be like, and it was produced by George A. Romero, and it was a
Well,
masterpiece.
your
at the time.
your camera's so fuzzy. At first, I thought you were wearing a Confederate flag hat. So.
Ooh, yeah, you know,
Might as
big
well.
boy.
Might as well be.
Yeah.
This is a $99 Chrome fat book. So yeah, just watch out. Real talk.
My goodness. Oh gosh. Well, Cameron, we'll give you some time to kind of put a list together. Have you got a list ready?
I have. Well, at least I've my number one, and I know a lot of you would be like, "What? Why did you even expect that movie to be good? Like the rest of them were terrible." But I gotta tell you, I was really looking forward to Saw the final chapter, and
To what?
I saw the final chapter because I started getting into this habit of like getting the DVD like every year, and then like I would see like a new episode of like this TV show called Saw I was watching. So I was really expecting, I don't know, something to happen in the last movie. And I got it in the last like 2 seconds of the movie, but the whole rest of the movie was just terrible. And especially since the director had made 6, and that wasn't bad. In fact, a lot of people say it's one of their favorite ones of the series. So yeah, Saw the final chapter. I didn't expect like the greatest movie of all time, but I expected something way better than that shit. So
Okay.
and I don't know. It's like sometimes I look forward to seeing a movie and then I finally make the time to see it, and then if it completely lets me down, it's just like I feel like I wasted my whole time. So, and I enjoyed that series up until that point, and then I just felt like 7 put me in such a foul mood. I haven't even seen the last one yet, and I heard the last one was not that great either. So I'm not like rushing to see it. And in fact, the last one, the Jigsaw movie, is the only one of the series that doesn't have an unrated cut. So even Lionsgate doesn't even think that much of it. So.
Wow.
Well, they weren't asked to cut anything
Oh, okay.
for an R. I mean, the ratings board is now so lax on violence; it doesn't matter.
I know, but it's part of their bragging rights, right? Is to have the unrated version. Saw 3, which is probably my favorite of the whole series, has like 3 different cuts of it, and the best one is even allowed on Blu-ray, the director's cut, which is like almost 2.5 hours long. It's crazy. The only one that's available is the unrated cut, which is a minute longer than the theatrical cut. But 3 in the director's cut, it's only available on DVD, but it's really good because you feel like Darren Lynn Bousman really like swung for the fences. Like, this is it. This is the last Saw. We're going to make this the big one, the epic. Oh, you want to do Repo? You got to do Saw 4. Oh shit. So when I met him, I said, listen, I love Repo, but I tried to sit through Saw 4 and it just felt like you had nothing else to do, nothing else to say. Like I did 2 and 3. What else is there to do? And he says, yeah, I basically just kind of phoned that one in to do Repo. So they wouldn't let him do Repo, the Genetic Opera, without doing Saw 4. So, and it shows. But Yeah, I mean, I mean, I'm sure this audience will be like, "You expected that to be good too," but Brokeback Mountain, I expected that movie to be really good with all those Oscar nominations, and I finally sat down to watch it, and I was bored to tears. And I like angry movies, so
Yeah, I didn't think it was bad.
no,
I know we got a lot of nerds.
I'm not saying it was bad. I'm saying it was disappointing because I expected a lot.
It was overrated for sure. Yeah,
That's what I'm saying. And I thought that Anne Hathaway and
Right.
and who was the other girl?
Michelle Williams.
Michelle Williams. Just that those fake Texas. I felt like I was watching like outtakes from the Evening Star or something. That Terms of Endearment sequel. It just did not feel. I don't know. I expected a lot, and I sold it on eBay like that night. So when I bought it,
Cameron, may I have the floor for 5 seconds?
No, Orc, we don't want to know your thoughts on Brokeback Mountain. The show.
I mean, it's a movie
show
that
will get
I
banned.
you know.
The YouTube channel will
Yeah.
be shut down. We don't need that to happen.
No. Well, I mean, I've had the most fun with that film. Let's just put it at that. Jay, can I get a real talk, please?
no God.
Okay, real talk.
Oh no.
Okay. Here's something else for all you fucking nerds. All right, how about this? I think Heath Ledger's best movie is done with none other than your boy Mel Gibson in The Patriot. Batman: The Dark Knight is a good movie.
I
think
just did not expect this
Suck
to
my
be
dick.
where you went with this. Continue. I did not see that coming.
I just
Well,
can't
wait
quit
for
that
it.
orc, man. I just can't quit.
Wait for it, and here we go. So my webcam's a piece of shit, so it didn't look dank. There you go.
All right.
Wow, The Patriot. Okay.
Yeah. All right. Hey, everybody's got an opinion. So
I was about to write like the Sausage Factory does not endorse anything that comes out of Orc's mouth on this chat. I was about to hit enter, and then he hit me with The Patriot. I was like, okay, delete.
Orc, I want to see you do a trailer reaction to the Zac Efron Ted Bundy movie, and let me know how sexy you think he is.
Well, I haven't seen. Well, he's a fucking like 10.5 out of 10 at least. I mean, if we have to use the Netflix system.
They're never going to get that title on the marquee. That's all I got to say. So.
I want to see the new Dahmer movie and the new Dahmer movie and Bundy movie like back to back when they both come out. Well,
Who's
Dahmer's
playing
already out,
Dahmer?
but,
Is
Ryan
Gosling playing Dahmer?
What I think needs to
I
happen is
hope
they
not.
need to make
Otherwise,
this
I'll be.
this needs to be a cinematic universe and with versus films.
Yes.
That I would watch.
And then you bring
Dahmer
in
versus Bundy.
And then you bring Ash. You bring in.
Bring
Bruce Campbell.
But that film gets canceled and the like shows up in the comic book later.
Hey, boys, we're going back to the message boards days. All right, Chucky versus Michael versus Jason versus Freddy Krueger. I'm like eating bagel bites. I'm like fucking 12. I'm like, wow, this is amazing.
Screw you guys. Pumpkinhead would beat them all. We all know Pumpkinhead would win.
So you used to frequent the esplatter.com message boards too, Orc? So.
Dude, I was all over everything. Friday the 13th, Halloween movies, Arrow in the Head when it was just Joe Blow. They're just some Canadian guys, homies, Canada. Yeah, man. When Amazon actually had the 3-disc Suspiria edition with the soundtrack, dude, I was memeing at a young age. I mean, I wasn't quite like Pizzell's friend who was Metallica 1, Napster 0, but I was close.
Thank me, man. Well, Lauren, why don't you go ahead?
Baby,
I've got my helmet on. Drop some bombs on us. Tell us about some of your most underwhelming / disappointing movie experiences.
So I have to set it up. So when I was growing up, I was too young in the late 70s to get to the theaters to see a lot of the films that I think are absolute classics. It would be a couple of years, and then they would show up on network television, heavily cut. But one thing that was consistent is on the school bus and in the school the next day, all the kids would be talking about the films. And for some reason, when one of these films premiered, I wasn't in front of the television that night, which was actually very rare because I sought these things out even when I was 7. And everyone was talking about this movie, talking about how awesome it was, and I was building images in my head of what this movie could possibly be and how it was going to look. When I eventually did see it, like a year later, it completely lived up to everything I wanted it to be. It's become a DNA film for me. So fast forward a few years, and they announce a sequel is coming out in the summer, and I get very excited because this was an important seminal film for me. And I went to the theaters, and Jim Cameron's Aliens unspools in front of me and just crushes everything that I cared about from the first film. It betrays even the genre because it's not in any way a horror film. It's not even science fiction. It's basically a comedy with war scenes. When people talk about the film, I dare you to have a conversation about Aliens where someone doesn't mention a line they think is funny. It's also a film that's nonsensical. It doesn't. The plot makes absolutely no sense when you actually look at it, scene by scene. It's doing whatever it needs to do to get to the big set piece action sequence that Cameron wanted to film. And here's the thing: Cameron is probably the best visual director of action from that period. He does an amazing job of making the film. The problem is the screenplay is nonsensical. The characters do things that are far dumber than anything done in any of the later sequels, including people's objections to Prometheus and Covenant. But the film has built up such a cult of goodwill that no one ever criticizes it. And it's become a rallying point to me that it is not just one of the most disappointing experiences of my life. I think it's a prime example of an audience making a decision to like a film and will defend it to the death, no matter what or where the conversation goes. I think if a different film had made any of the choices it makes, it would be called out on them consistently. Whether it's Ripley going back into space, specifically to go to a place where she knows the aliens are, which betrays the character from the first film that doesn't even want to let Ash into the drop shuttle because of infection rules. To Burke's plan to impregnate Ripley and Newt with the aliens and smuggle them back on board. He chooses the only way that was guaranteed to get them caught. It's the whole film is ridiculous. Marines using live ammunition around nuclear reactors. I mean, you have to believe people are really friggin' dumb for this movie to play the way it does. And yet, consistently, I feel like I am in a pebble in an ocean of fans, you know? I feel like the one person who just doesn't get it. And I consider Alien to probably be one of my very favorite franchises. I'm more forgiving of it than most, even though Resurrection is obviously god-awful, and the Alien versus Predator films I don't include. But Aliens is not just one of my most disappointing films. I think it's a film that really has a reputation that doesn't match the movie, if we're being fair. So bring the hate.
How do you feel about Terminator 2?
Similar. I think Terminator is a better film than Terminator 2.
Because that's, essentially the first film was horror, with both of those.
Yeah.
So,
But there I have a little bit more tolerance because I think while Terminator is a slasher film with, sci-fi and action film dressing, it relies less on the horror tropes to tell its story. Whereas Alien is an outright horror film, no matter how you cut it. And Aliens is not in any way.
So let me just make this clear. We're on this show, the TSF crew. We dislike certain members, Die Hard with a Vengeance, The Dark Knight, Martyrs, and Aliens. Yeah, we're all going to die. I mean, yep. I don't wish it on anybody.
I like all those films you just mentioned.
Somebody has a problem with Die Hard with a Vengeance. I have to fight. I'm going to fight
this
you.
This guy over here.
You know what's funny is for me, I like Aliens. I saw Aliens before I ever saw Alien, so I saw this dumb action movie, and when I went and saw Alien, I was like, "Wow, this movie's so awesome!" So I always had like the opposite reaction, I guess. So I like Aliens because it was just this dumb action movie that I think is really cool, and I thought I like the set pieces, whatever. And then I went and saw the original, and it almost bolstered my love for Alien more because I appreciated what was in what that film did.
Lauren, what roughly how old are you? What's your age range?
I'm 45.
Okay, so you're more or less around my age. So do you remember when Aliens came out? Like it was the movie, like on the playground, like or middle school, wherever you were. Yeah,
the fly.
Yeah, it just I remember kids I was in was it 5th grade when the movie came out, and all these kids were just like, I just saw aliens. I got in to see aliens, and it was just this thing that was whispered about on the playground. And then the next year, when it was on HBO, it was kind of this rite of passage. Did you stay up Saturday night at 8 o'clock or 10 o'clock and catch aliens? And it was that kind of cool factor about it. So I really liked it from that angle, and I had never seen the first one. So much so that when I saw the first one, I was bored to tears by it because I was, because Aliens was just a lot of action, a lot of parts moving. And it wasn't until like the DVDs started coming out, or even the Blu-rays too, with the widescreen, and you get the, and you realize just how masterful Alien is and how shitty it looked on those pan and scan videotapes. Like it destroyed, I would think, the first film on video.
I had no idea for so long that the alien's head is like see-through. Because of those, you know what I mean? Like I had no idea. The first time I saw that, I was like, "What the?"
It looks just black, right?
Yeah, it just looks like black on those tapes, right?
Mm-hmm. But see, the thing is, I think the reason why that they don't, because I think the Aliens is a very well liked film, like you said. But I think the reason why people don't go after the plot holes, maybe with like the way you are wanting, is because 3 and 4 are so bad in certain.
I love 3.
Well, I know, but which, okay, do you like the theatrical or both, or what do you like?
I like both. I prefer the assembly cut, but I don't think Alien 3 has quite the plot hole.
No, I think the idea of killing off Newt and Hicks in the first minute to a lot of people was like the worst thing you could have done. Maybe for you it was like, okay, great, we can start over from scratch. It was a palate
cleanser. Yeah,
right.
Absolutely.
But
that film is that is a nihilist film. I mean, you can't have it. The question is really, I mean, all the characters that we know, except for one faceless criminal, has to die in that movie. Maybe doing it up front pissed people off. I don't really think so. I think they would have been angry anyway. I think they just wanted aliens again.
Well, I think they may have been, like, for instance, like in Dream Master, right? When they killed Joey and Kincaid off, a lot of people don't like the fact that they die. But I think if Hicks and Newt had gotten killed in the first half hour, I think the reason why they didn't do that is because Newt had aged a lot too. You know what I mean? So they couldn't, they came back. It was like 7 years later, so they couldn't just pick it up. So they had to do it. They should have just done something where they didn't even like address it or something, because it just was, because I mean Ripley begins the aliens like 54 years later, right, from the first movie. So they could have picked it up 100 years later or something like that.
I completely agree. I always wondered why they didn't just gloss over it. I mean, it's been like, I know she was going to ask about them. They'd be like, who? Do you know what I mean? Like, it's been like, who knows what the story was there? She could have been in that thing forever. Like, and they could have just glossed over it. I personally was pissed off. But
or they could have said, you know what, we rushed them to infirmary. They didn't make it. You know what I mean? Just something.
I was extremely pissed off by that.
Yeah, I was pissed off. Like,
how do you make a film about grief without killing off characters? See, that's where I think
it discredits the ending of the film. Though. I mean, all of that was for nothing.
No.
I don't think it's what they did; it's how they did it.
Aliens completely discredits the end of Aliens.
This is like the third time we've had this conversation.
Yeah.
Well, you know what's funny about that is they didn't. Michael Biehn, they show like a picture of him in Alien 3. He got paid more to have his picture shown in that movie. A little green, horrible looking picture of him. He got paid more for that than what he got paid for acting in the entirety of Aliens.
That's a lot of Tito's vodka, son.
No.
And I think that was done because he pressured his agent about it because of what had happened a few years prior with Crispin Glover in Back to the Future 2. Where they made up the makeup to make the guy look like Crispin Glover. So Crispin Glover sued and all hell broke loose. But obviously they must have patched things out because Crispin Glover did do the voice for Grendel and Zemeckis' Beowulf. So obviously, they got along.
Yeah.
I was going to mention this earlier when we were talking about Covenant, but do you guys remember when Neil Blomkamp was going to do the new Alien film?
Right.
Yep.
I was so on board for that. And I guess he did Chappie or whatever, Chippy.
Yeah.
And, Ridley Scott shot that down.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yep. And the only reason why Ridley Scott had the clout to do it was because of The Martian. If he had just directed like The Counselor or something like that, he wouldn't have had the clout to do it.
Yeah, I haven't seen The Martian. Is that worth watching?
It's great.
Is it?
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't like the idea of series that decide to disinclude or rewrite any films. Even if I didn't like the film, I want it to be canon. I think that it's just you, at that point you're just kind of upsetting part of your fan base.
Well, what if
it's
it's not?
unnecessary? Really.
What if it's not discrediting canon, but just creating an alternate timeline? I kind of like that. Now I know like the whole thing with like Halloween, right? The whole idea of like, well, we're gonna just do this. I don't know. I like the fact that at least Hollywood is now trusting viewers to be able to distinguish, alternate universes. I like that. Me personally.
Well, let me ask you this, Lauren. I mean, I have no problem with Halloween pretending that all of the other ones didn't exist, and I know Halloween's probably on your list, right?
Actually, in a way, it is.
Okay, but I look at that movie and I go, man, that where would you even, if you were going to have that movie follow, that series is so disjointed. That series has been disjointed since the third one. So I mean, you've got like 1 and 2 take place in a universe. 4, 5, and 6 take place in a universe. 7 and 8 take place in their own universe. The zombie movies take place in their own universe. So I mean, you've got like the Halloween series is just, it's like the most insane family tree you've ever seen. How could you? Where would you have? I mean, would you have wanted it to pick up after 2? Would you have wanted there to be? I mean, I don't know where. I don't know where you could have picked up. Because they're definitely not going to follow zombie stuff. Zombie stuff, they're definitely not going to follow that. They're definitely not going to follow Resurrection. Although I think at the end of Resurrection did do the dirty work of wiping the slate clean of the past, where they could have started a whole new it could have been a whole new launching pad for something else. But that movie was awful. I mean, I'm not sure how they could have done anything other than what they did.
Well, this is a great segue, actually, to my next piece of my next film. Sort of. But one thing I was just discussing literally today is, and I know this is not going to be popular with either the panelists here or people watching, but since last year, I've started to evolve. I'm a huge Friday the 13th fan. I'm a big franchise horror fan. In the last year, however, though, my mindset has completely changed on this. As much
Lauren,
as
what's your favorite Pokemon?
Excuse me?
What's your favorite Pokemon? You said you're starting to evolve. What?
I've never played a Pokemon.
A Jigglypuff.
I'll go with the puff thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm now of the belief that we need to just let the old franchises die. Let them go. Because I don't want to see more of what I think happened with Halloween 2018, which is that it was a commercial film. It was made because they figured out how a formula to make cash, bring back the star, bring back the original director and executive producer presence, make sure the score has some appeal on its own. But it very much was cobbled together as a commercial concern first and foremost. And you can tell that because it doesn't fit into any chronology except for including the original film. I'm not a fan of the idea of having to sit through a Friday the 13th that offends me as badly as Halloween 2018 did. I don't think we need another Texas Chainsaw Massacre, because I think we've learned that maybe not a one-trick pony, but pretty close. I'm just willing to let it go. I never want to see another Nightmare on Elm Street again anyway. So, realistically, I think it might be. Go ahead.
I was just going to say, I feel like, okay, real quick. I feel like with Nightmare on Elm Street, they could do it in like I think the way Chris Nolan's what was that the dream one? What was the
Inception?
Inception. I kept thinking Interstellar. Inception. I think you could do Freddy almost like that, where you could go dream within a dream within it, go 8 layers down and all that. And you could really play with that kind of thing. And now that Warner Brothers owns it, they could kind of do that. But Friday the 13th, I think if they do what everybody wants, right, which is all the final girls back, get Amy Steele and all of them back for one last hurrah, and not do a Halloween 2018, but do a full-on sequel, bring them all together, and do one last big hurrah. I think, wouldn't you be okay with that?
Here's my thing, and this specific example sounds great, but here's the problem I'm having. I just don't trust it anymore. I think the fan service is toxic at this point. I would far rather see something new created, create new icons for the genre. I think that's healthier anyway. I think it's just time to move forward. I think we have to face facts that the 80s and 70s were, at this point, 40 and 30 years ago. It's time to move on from it.
What about the genre? What about the genre? I mean, what about, do we want to just put slashers in the past and say, you know what, that was the 80s. Let's just be done with it and move on.
Not at all. I mean, not at all. If not that anyone is, but if anyone's paying attention, my favorite film of the last 20 years came out this October. It was the other slasher film that came out. I am fully on board of keeping the genre alive. I think I want to keep the genre alive, not through nostalgia, but through innovation and moving forward. Not necessarily innovation as a new concept, but innovation in that where filmmaking is at today. I don't want my feelings hurt anymore with these things that I grew up with. I'd rather go forward on new properties. I'm willing to let it go at this point, and it will be a shame if Friday the 13th never has a 13th film. Sure, but do we really want the 13th film to be a disaster? I'd rather it not exist.
Well, I mean, honestly, I agree with you, because like the other day they announced that Blumhouse was going to be, the whole dark universe, the Universal dark universe kind of died, and then it was announced that Blumhouse was going to take it over, and they're going to do the dark universe, and it's going to be, the new the guy that did Upgrade is going to be doing a Invisible Man movie, and I was just like, that everybody was like super stoked about it, and I was just kind of like, meh. I mean, I'd rather see him do something new and original than I'd rather see something new and original than another reimagining.
I know, we've already seen Hollow Man.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And and like Lauren said, and I've said this too, I would rather there just not be another Friday or Nightmare or whatever if it sucks. If it sucks, it's not going to really exist. It'll exist, but not in a, it'll exist in the same realm as Halloween Resurrection, which is kind of this limbo where, bad movies go to wither and, whatever.
See, I think Nightmare on Elm Street, like that, the 7 films they made is to me like a perfect series. It has the first film, it has the last film, and it ends. Mm-hmm. I mean, the series ends with 6, and then 7 comes out, and they do that whole circular ending so that Freddy is forever trapped within the film. That is brilliant. Okay, series over.
Cameron, I have a question for you.
Yeah,
Cameron.
What?
Let me some sugar. I am your neighbor. Here we go. Shake it. All right. Okay. Sorry.
He hit you with some molasses. I don't know what. Okay. So I don't know what just happened.
So I think if you do a Nightmare on Elm Street, if you're going to do another one, it needs to stand on its own, not be the same thing that we've seen before. Do something with Freddy in a whole new environment. That's why I was thinking Inception and stuff like that. Because if you just go back to killing the kids on Elm Street, we've already seen that series. So but you can take the monster and do something else with them. That's why I was okay with a little bit with the remake, because I thought they were going to go a different way. I thought they were going to say he didn't.
Freddy's innocent.
He's innocent, right. And no, he's pissed off because they killed him anyway. Right? That's a cool little twist to it, and then they failed.
They abandoned that super quick though. They abandoned that super quick. But see, but then you get into the realm of they're going to overthink it, and then you find yourself where we were with Friday the 13th all those years. Mm. So I mean,
that was embarrassing.
Yeah,
absolutely embarrassing.
An embarrassment. Yeah.
Seriously,
I just don't see why we're going to cling to the icon if we have to change everything around it. I think just creating new properties and support, and as fans, we should be supporting the new properties, which unfortunately we don't have a great track record for.
But then there's something like The Strangers, something like The Strangers that comes out, stands alone, people really like it, and then 14 years later they decide to make a sequel. Like I don't like that. I like if you're gonna make a sequel to The Strangers, make it in the first couple of years, not 14 years later.
Mm-hmm.
The most disturbing thing about this is there's great scripts out there just collecting dust of original properties that are awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
That's the saddest thing.
How many classic horror novels from the 60s through today have not been adapted, which are just ready? It's on the page. It's there. I think there's other places we go. I don't need another Pet Sematary remake for the exact same reason. There's novels that have never been adapted. Someone like Brian Hodges' Prototype, if it came out today, would blow everyone in this chat and everyone watching's mind as a movie. But it's never going to happen because it's not a safe property with a built-in marketability. It'd have to be explained to people what you're about to buy a ticket for. And Hollywood is at this moment looking for things where there's a shortcut to get the advertising done. They want to say, hey, you like Nightmare on Elm Street, right? Well, we're going to get Robert Englund back. We're going, and we can't do Wes Craven in this case, but we'll have Heather Langenkamp in the film. And guess what? You liked it last time. You know what you're buying a ticket for, right? I just think it's. I don't see where that goes. In 10 years, are we still going to be playing this game with these same franchises?
Well, I said that like 15 years ago when these remakes started.
Yeah, that was the thing. The remakes took up a whole decade. Yeah, it's an interesting discussion for sure.
So anyway. How this plays into Halloween on my list is actually, to be honest with you, after Halloween 3, every Halloween film has disappointed me to a level. And let me explain that. I like the 4th film. I like the 5th film. I like H2O as what they are, but there's such a fall from the grace of the 1st film and even the 2nd film that I don't know that the series has ever been as sacred to me as it is to a lot of people. The 1st film's sacred. The 2nd film is a lot of fun. After that, you have to be very, very forgiving. And when you think about how perfect the 1st film is, with a few exceptions, it really, really is kind of a shame that every time I buy a ticket for a Halloween film, it's like, well, I'm hoping this will be one that I'm less disappointed in. It's a weird scale. I mean, especially you're paying how much for a ticket at this point to go see a movie in a theater, or buying a Blu-ray, or it's
Lauren,
weird. Like it's
a
Stockholm syndrome.
Ultraviolet trade-in. Okay.
Lauren, when I buy a ticket for a new Halloween film or any fucking slasher film, I don't give a fuck if it says Platinum Dunes on it. I just don't want to see Rob Zombie's fucking stupid name in the goddamn fucking credits. That's
that's the
stick with your
point,
Captain
though.
Insano shit. I don't give a fuck.
But don't you think that's it though? Like we were so forgiving of 4, 5, and 6 and 7, right? That we almost dared the studio to make the zombie films. Oh, they'll show up for anything. Let's give it to the music video director or the musician who he draws pictures, right? They have clowns that look evil in them. Let's give him Halloween.
He got Halloween because of Devil's Rejects. I mean, if he had delivered House of 1,000 Corpses 2 and it was on the level of the first movie, I don't think he gets Halloween.
Which I think is a decent film.
What?
Devil's Rejects.
That's what I'm saying. It was so well regarded that Mary
As do I, but do you think it was a good... Even before he made the film, though, would you have really thought he was the guy for Halloween? I think Halloween is a lot more classy than what we knew Rob Zombie was going to bring to it. By the way,
I was going to say, if somebody else wrote it, I would have been okay with him directing it. But I think that him writing it, he's not the right voice for that series.
Yeah.
No. And the Halloween series has one other thing that I think is fairly gross about it when you think about it, which is that as it moved forward, they never, at least the Friday 13th, while they had no continuity between them, at least they always made sure you knew that they were resetting the clock. there was always a okay, well, he wakes up under the dock. He wakes up because of a broken power line. There was always hey, this is another time, a different story. The Halloweens expected you to pick up where the previous film ended, even if it was going to just abandon the style and sensibilities of the previous film entirely. And it's a very disjointed, it's a series that sets itself up for criticism. And I like it more than I should, but I can't lie. I've seen both Halloween and Halloween 2 on in theaters on screenings after the fact, but I was too young to see either of them in theaters. The truth is, I've never seen one theatrically where I walked out saying, God, this is a great night. That was a great time at the movies. I just haven't. And that's kind of scary for a film that's a series that has as many films and is as well regarded as it is. So that's why I made my list of disappointments.
And yet the funny thing is, I had an ex-girlfriend once that watched the first movie and she thought it was a boring piece of crap and just said, he just stands there all night. Like, where's, she had seen like a later movie and she's just like, where's the Michael that like is grabbing people and throwing people off roofs and things like that, or sticking shotguns through their stomach, she thought the first movie was like German expressionism or something.
I think it's just time for us, really. I mean, because I could list off like things like Godzilla '98, and everyone goes, "Oh yeah, it was a horrible disappointment." But it's funny. No one looks back and goes, "That was a good movie in disguise." I'm sure it has its fans, but no. It was
a good movie.
Okay. Thank you. You just proved my point.
But no one on this panel thinks Weekend at Bernie's 2 was a good movie, right? So make sure.
Wait, I'm going to defend it. I'm going to defend it now.
But I think it's just scary because we continue to buy tickets for the same things over and over, or the same franchises over and over, even when they disappoint us consistently.
Isn't that
that's
called
a disturbing trend?
Chasing the dragon? It's like, we really like that. Let me seek that adrenaline rush again. That's why we get 5 Final Destinations and a new one coming out. People just want to have that experience again and again and again. It's like a cheeseburger, right? It's what they talk about Friday the 13th, right? That what they created was a hamburger. Everyone kept coming back every year to get a bite.
And it made a good hamburger most years, which is why that series I wouldn't include on this list. Not saying I love every installment. There's 2 entries that I don't like, and we won't go into that. But I don't know. The other thing about it that always bothers me is that as a fan, I go into every film wanting to enjoy myself. I've never bought a ticket for a movie wanting to hate the movie. I really haven't. But when I'm disappointed on something like, say, the American Ring movie, I was a huge Ringu fan, walked in, I felt it betrayed everything about the original Japanese film in fundamental ways. But that wouldn't even make this list simply because it's a one-off. It's just my level of excitement died pretty quickly, and it was almost forgotten. I don't think about the American Ring film every day of my life at all. The Halloween series comes up every day of my life, which maybe says too much about me, but how can something be this culturally relevant and consistently have disappointed me? I don't get it.
I think Naomi Watts versus the deer in Ring 2 is a culturally amazing moment.
Now that is a terrible, disappointing watch.
That scene seems like something out of a Tool video from like '95.
Still better shot.
Yeah, probably.
Oh goodness! I'll go ahead and throw some of mine out there. And now this is a movie that I don't think it's necessarily a bad movie, but I was very disappointed with it when I went and saw it in the theater. It's the My Bloody Valentine remake. Now, I was so hyped for this movie. I don't know why. I was so hyped for My Bloody Valentine 3D. I talked a bunch of coworkers into going and watching it with me. The non-horror people, by the way. I think it might have even been like the opening night, Friday night. The theater was so packed we had to sit at the very top of the theater. And just being so excited. And then there was that moment in the film where the excitement, it's like a balloon that just deflates, and you realize, wait a minute, this isn't very good. This isn't as good as I thought it was going to be, and it's just not very good at all. And oh God, we're only about 40 minutes into this thing. Oh man, yeah, this is and not that I wouldn't say it's a bad movie. It's just I don't know, and I'd hyped it up so much in my own mind, and I think in the mind of the coworkers that went with me, that it was just it was just this, I don't know. I was very disheartened walking out of the My Bloody Valentine remake.
Did I ever tell you about the when I met Todd Farmer? He told me, he goes, My Bloody Valentine made $100 million domestically, right? So him and Patrick Lussier walked into Lionsgate and going, okay, so when are we doing the sequel? And Lionsgate's response was, we're okay. Like, they didn't even develop a sequel. We're okay. We're not going to make that. Like any other horror film, there would have been a sequel on the assembly train.
Immediately, yes. Immediately.
Yes. Yeah. I like the film in the theaters, but I got to be honest with you, I've never revisited it since it's come out on video. So I don't know how well it would hold up. But I did enjoy myself because it just felt like a kind of a balls to the wall slasher film that I hadn't seen in a while. So,
did all you guys watch it in 3D?
Yeah.
I did not watch it in 3D.
Okay. See, that was really the appeal for it for me, because this came out, I think that new the DVD at the time came out with all the extra footage put back into it.
Yep.
Like the Tuesday before this came out. And I had bought that, and I was like watching that. I was all on board. I had a fun time with it. I mean, I didn't think it was the greatest thing in the world, but I enjoyed the 3D aspect of it. I thought it was done well before it was done to death, like it was years after.
Yeah.
I mean, when the pickaxe was like flying at the screen and he was swinging at people, I thought it was pretty cool.
Yeah.
It's like
and or like the
movie that I could
or like the naked actress for 10 minutes.
Yeah. Can't say. Yeah. That was a high point. Yeah. That brought back. It's like okay. There's something to like here. Okay, hold on.
Atkins in it.
Well, did you have?
It did.
Did you have 3D shotgun?
Did you have nostalgia for the original one when you went to see this one?
Oh, sure.
Okay.
Sure. Yeah. Oh, sure.
So you were you comparing the two as you were watching it? Because I hadn't even seen the original until after I saw the remake. So.
I don't think I wasn't comparing it while I was watching it, but I was trying to just enjoy the movie for what it was, and I don't know. I just remember that sinking feeling of, oh man, this isn't as good as I thought it was going to be, and oh man, I just
I think
3D. The only reason I saw.
I'm sure the 3D, the 3D would have definitely helped.
So, Piz, was it a worse experience than the Fog remake?
I have not seen the Fog remake.
Unbelievable.
That's a great choice.
I have that one in my UV library.
I was smart enough to avoid that one. I avoided that one. I avoided the Hitcher remake, and I avoided the Stepfather remake.
Oh no!
Which brings me, I gotta say,
far worse.
No, the worst remake out of the original Stepfather, Terry O'Quinn is a fucking savage. Mm-hmm. I saw the Stepfather remake, that shitty PG-13 dog shit of a film, and people were actually getting shocked at different points of that movie. I wanted to do something bad to myself. I'll just say it that way, and not to anybody else. Martyrs and Stepfather remake are the two shittiest films I've ever seen.
But then you have things like, there was like remakes that were like insulting to us, and then there were like throwaway ones like the When a Stranger Calls and all that stuff that I didn't even bother. Like they just came and went that weekend. I never saw Prom Night. I never saw any of that stuff.
Oh, that one's awesome.
That's
Prom Night
true.
remake is awesome.
Yeah.
When the Stranger Calls, the original is a strange film because I love watching the first 15 minutes and then turning it off, and I never feel like I missed anything.
Mm-hmm.
Well, the When the Stranger Calls remake is that first 15 minutes for 90 minutes.
Yeah, I didn't bother.
Yeah.
You know what? I actually don't think it's bad. I don't think it's bad at all compared to, Prom Night and some of the other remakes that we got. That one's pretty high up on the list.
Hey, I'll pull a Rambo Raff here for a second. Most of them were dog shit, but the Hills Have Eyes remake, that's a fucking good movie. I love that movie.
A lot of people like that one a lot, but then they hate the second one. So.
Yeah.
Not a big fan.
I like that sweet rape scene in the second one. That's what I'm on board for.
Well, in the original series, of course, we had Hills Have Eyes has the dog flashback, which is probably one of the high points of cinema.
That's true. That's true. That's true.
Can you imagine being the executive that got handed that script page and went, "Yeah, fuck it, do that."
Yeah, yeah.
I don't even think that was in the script. I think I was just added in the editing and post production.
I think Lauren, you left out the part where the executive reads that page, snorts a big line of blow, and goes, "Works for me."
Then again,
love the fact that sorry.
Then again, at that time, I'm not sure there was executives on Craven's Productions. It really probably was just the Hallmark guys.
Probably. Two more. I won't go too in depth on these. We actually talked about this movie, I think, week before last, and that was Terminator Genesis. Not that I was super hyped for it going in, but I literally, the first 15 minutes when you like kill off John Connor in the first 15 minutes, it's like, okay, well, what's the point of watching the movie now? And then, I just think it was horribly miscast and just, overlong and just not good. Not good.
Boring.
Exactly. Boring. Yeah. The Halloween remake, you guys have heard me go on and on about the Halloween remake all these years. Still to this day, the most depressing experience of my life. I was excited for it because, in hindsight, of course, Rob Zombie and Halloween, that's oil and water. You know what I mean? Rob Zombie and a Texas Chainsaw remake, perfect. Rob Zombie and Halloween, no. But, I was still laboring under the thought that Rob Zombie was a horror fan and that he understood what made the original Halloween so effective. And then about 5 minutes into his remake, I realized that he don't know shit. So, that was a very long one, a very draining one. And it was a, just sad experience for me.
It doesn't help that it's like literally like 2 hours and 5 minutes and it feels like 4 hours.
Exactly.
It feels like a weekend.
When that thing finally shifted to adult Myers, I remember thinking like, whoa, it feels like I've sat through an entire like epic movie, an awful epic movie, and now I've got, adult Myers to watch.
Mm-hmm. When people tell me they like new metal and Rob Zombie's Halloween 1 and 2, I feel like killing myself. I'm sorry, but I still feel bad for being Caucasian after seeing the first film. I'm sorry that a Caucasian guy made this from Western Europe. I'm sorry.
And what's really weird is Rob Zombie usually shoots so much footage, right? Like tons and tons of footage. But in order to cover up production mistakes and how they film things, they literally in the director's cut stuck a black screen on with the words "trick or treat" in the middle to distinguish between the young and the old Michael Myers.
Oh
when they did the cut, it literally slams and says "trick or treat," and then we begin the adult part. It's like, oh my god.
You got to wonder with that movie, because I always got the impression that he had a Godfather 2 idea going, whereas it was going to swap between young and older Michael, and they just abandoned it, and that's why the film is so lopsided and weird, because there are sequences that correspond to each other that you'd think would be edited to point out the similarities, but it's not there.
He wanted to do an entire movie of young Michael and then an entire movie of adult Michael, and they said no. You do them both together. You know what I mean? So that's how he probably, that'd be giving some credit to him that he would think to edit them together that way in a Godfather, 2 type fashion. But
has he recovered in your eyes at all? Like for like Lords of Salem, did you like that, or did you like no one liked what was that clown
31?
Yeah, nobody liked. Yeah, everyone hated that one.
Lords of Salem was Halloween is Rob Zombie trying to do Carpenter and failing. To me, Lords of Salem was Zombie trying to do like Kubrick and failing. So no.
I haven't watched anything since Halloween 2 because from him.
You know what?
I don't think I'm going back.
I've never watched Halloween 2, and I never intend to.
You know what? I like Halloween too. There's things about it that I like. I like the fact that it's just completely crazy and off the board. That was the movie that I was expecting going into Rob Zombie's Halloween. That was the kind of movie that I was expecting.
So how could he have done the first movie, you think, in a way that if he was going to do it, and like you say you like part 2, how could he have done one that you would have maybe been more on board? If he had, would you have been okay if it was the kid movie all the way through?
No. I don't like the backstory stuff. I don't like the motive stuff. I don't like the whole kid thing. To me, that whole hour or however long it was is just completely unnecessary and unneeded and excessive beyond belief. And it was Rob Zombie, typing out, I'm gonna skull F you, and then he leans back in his chair and he goes, "That's good dialogue." You know what I mean? That's just, dude. No.
But it just betrays everything. It's a guy who didn't understand. Having Myers kill the 2 bullies in the woods as a kid destroys the whole concept that one Halloween night he turns like a light went off and he goes and kills his sister.
Yeah.
It's just a misunderstanding on such a base level. Making the family this horrible white trash oppressive family, that destroys the idea of the monster can come from suburbia. Like everything that Carpenter built, Zombie deconstructed and threw away the remnants of.
Yeah.
It's awful.
Yeah. Yeah. God. and
PTSD here.
Yeah, I know. And The Sixth Sense, to me, I watched The Sixth Sense in the theater opening weekend, and I swear to God, I walked out of it laughing, and I turned around and I realized that there were people walking out of that movie crying, and I was like, "What? We must have watched 2 different movies." I hated that movie. I still hate that movie.
And a few months later, Stir of Echoes came out.
Exactly. But no, I mean, I remember like walking out of that movie, like laughing and saying, "Oh, that sucked." And like I turned around and people were walking out drying their eyes. And I didn't get it.
It's the Toni Collette speech. It's that whole scene.
I guess. I don't know. It did nothing for me. Nothing.
I've been crying at his career ever since. So,
but yeah, that was my list. I know. Let's see, Raho, you had some more on your list.
Yeah. Let's see here. We talked about some of these, so I'm just kind of scanning it. This is a weird one because I don't know how I expected it to be good, but Batman and Robin. I was a kid. I actually liked Batman Forever somehow. It's ridiculous as it is. I still say to this day I like that movie for whatever reason. But going into Batman and Robin, I was like, Arnold's in it. I don't know why. I don't know how I went into that movie expecting more, but I can still remember getting all of my buddies. We hopped in the car, we drove home, and like getting in the house, and my mom being like, "How was it?" And I was just like, that was the worst fucking movie I ever saw in my entire life. I felt like that at that age. That movie just completely just was the pits.
Now, Raho, if I was Warner Brothers executive and Schumacher brought that film into me, right?
Yeah.
I'll make one change that would have guaranteed positive reviews for that entire movie, besides just burning the thing.
Okay.
They should have gone in and just added the pows and the bams from the 60s show. And I think people would have been more on board if you had embraced the cheesiness.
Yeah.
Full on embraced it and put all the music and stuff like that. People would have gone apeshit.
I was I completely agree.
That's how I would have saved it. I would have been like, this is going to be a disaster.
I was such a big fan of the comics at the time, and they had the whole Nightfall series and Batman basically having his back broken and working his way back up, and the whole Bane stuff. And then they had Bane in the movie. I'm like, Bane's in the movie. This is going to be so good. How could they have fucked that up worse? If they I can't.
Venom and Spider-Man 3.
Yeah, well, that was also on my list. And for the similar reasons, I was going to say the same thing was Spider-Man 3. I don't know how I really went into it expecting it to be something. When I heard they were putting Venom in it, I was like, I love Venom. but Topher Grace, like it didn't make sense. But that's what's funny is that's not even the worst part. You know what I mean? It's like the character arc they took Spider-Man on, and everything about that movie is just a goddamn train wreck too. That's another one that just I can't say it was like heartbreaking because I didn't go in thinking, oh, this is gonna be amazing, but Spider-Man 3 was just another one that just I was like, how could they have fucked it up that bad?
Did you see the new Venom, Raho?
I haven't. I don't think I'll watch it. I if they are gonna have Venom without Spider-Man, that's like that doesn't make any fucking sense to me. Those two things have to be the fact that they can make the movie and it not come from Spider-Man and have that connection just doesn't. I just can't. No.
Yeah, I mean, hopefully that's the plan at some point.
Yeah.
I'm hoping they'll eventually release the R-rated cut because they cut out 40 minutes of that movie. Apparently, that was the actor's name? Not
Tom Hardy.
Tom Hardy. Apparently, it was his favorite 40 minutes of the movie was like all this graphic violence. They cut it all out to make it PG-13. So.
Yeah. I mean, there was a lot of parts of Venom that I liked, but
yeah, I liked Venom too.
Yeah, I mean, it was okay. I had some problems with it, but definitely better than the way it was done in Spider-Man 3, which that was on my list too. That was one I was going to bring up. I saw that Thursday night, opening night. I had to get my tickets weeks in advance. That was with a big group of friends, and that movie was ass. Because I love the first two. I love the first two films. I mean, I don't think they hold up very well now, but at that time, I was very pumped up. Yeah.
Well, they were the best thing we were getting at the time. You know what I mean? The first Spider-Man movie, I was like, holy shit, they actually did it. Like watching it now, yeah. But at the time, they did it right. Wow. So you go into that one.
And, Spider-Man's always been one of my favorite, superheroes. So,
yeah.
I could kind of hold it to a little higher standard than some of the others.
Yeah, I've never actually read any of I've never been like a guy to read the Venom comics. It's like I like Spider-Man when he's his foe, and that connection and stuff. So for me, watching the Venom movie is like it's like reading those Venom comics. I just don't care. So anyway, maybe I'll check it out sometime. I don't know, but I have no interest right now. It's kind of like Suicide Squad, and I'm never gonna watch it.
Big news: Zack Snyder is confirmed directing the I don't know if it's a sequel. It's another.
No. This is great. They're rebooting it. They're gonna call it the Suicide Squad. They're just gonna go do another one. What?
It's James Gunn.
That's what I meant. I'm sorry. Sorry.
Yeah.
All these names are like synonymous to me now since they're all doing the exact same stuff.
And they're gonna do the Batman. So they're gonna have the Batman and the Suicide Squad. They're just gonna put the in front of everything. The Superman. Read it all.
With a new Batman. Ben Affleck is out.
Batfleck is gone. Yeah.
He had quite a run.
Yeah.
Quite a run.
Yep. Bit of a blotch on the career.
He made what, probably 30, 40, 50 million. He'll be all right.
I'm sure he's okay. As he sleeps in his bed full of money. Yeah, I'm sure he's fine.
Tito's vodka.
Didn't Ben Affleck make like 5 movies as Batman? Isn't he like the longest, like the most, like, right? There's BVS, Suicide Squad,
Justice League,
right? And he didn't show up in Wonder Woman, but was there anything else? So he's in only 3 movies?
3, I guess.
Okay.
Was he an Aquaman?
I don't think so.
If he was CGI and probably was looking like a cartoon.
The people are like really going crazy over Aquaman. Have you guys seen it yet?
Not a good film.
That's another one I'm just never gonna watch.
I have zero desire to watch that.
That character sucks.
People like it's better than what they've been doing, so we're gonna sing its praises, but it's so bottom of the barrel. It is a video. It's like it looks like a video game the entire time. I mean, it's. There's this one shot of a sub which is I burst out laughing because the bodies of the characters cannot fit spatially in the sub that they're shown in. It's amazing that it made it into film. There's also things like squids playing drums. I mean, it's really it is bad.
This sounds like a Little Mermaid type thing. We got
sounds like Ant-Man.
That was more realistic.
I want to see Sebastian.
There's this opening fight that Nicole Kidman has that literally like all physics just go completely out the window, and people are moving too fast because they turn in from CGI to real people and back, and you can tell the transitions. It's bad. People wanted James Wan to do well with it, but I think he was handed an impossible project.
That's all right. We're gonna get about 1 million movies in the Conjuring universe after this. So
Yeah.
Cool.
It's made money, so that's all that matters. That'll
his he did the Fast or Furious 7 and this one. Both of them have cracked $1 billion. This guy is just gonna. I mean, who would have thought? Listen, I'm gonna tell you, when he came out with Death Sentence, I thought, oh God, after what was that doll movie he made?
Dead Silence.
Dead Silence, and then Death Sentence. I thought his career's over. What was I? I thought it was done, but then he came back with Insidious and has been riding high ever since.
Mm-hmm.
I saw The Nun, and that movie was garbage.
That was trash. Yeah, that movie sucks.
One of the worst movies I saw of the year so far.
Yeah.
Didn't that feel like it should have gone directly to like cable?
Directly to the garbage can.
That should have gone directly to a toilet. Yeah, that was awful. Awful.
But so was the first Annabelle, and then they came out with Annabelle 2, and people really liked that one a lot.
Yeah. Well, the first Ouija movie sucked. The second one was good.
Better.
Annabelle sucked. The second one was good. So maybe they'll come out with The Nun 2, and it'll be actually good. I mean, I don't know. Yeah. I doubt it. Probably not, since did The Nun make money?
I'm sure it did.
It made a lot of money.
It made a lot of money.
Italy.
It was Halloween, right?
In Italy, it hit a lot of money.
I speak on my behalf of the best only master of horror currently in the game right now. Those two Conjuring movies and the first Insidious, classics. Gonna go ahead and say it right now. Amazing films.
I don't like Conjuring 2. I think it's scary. I like the first Conjuring until the exorcism scene at the end, which I think is not good. But I'm willing to overlook it because the rest of the film is very solid. The second film has like problems. I mean, you have to play two tapes at exactly the same time backwards to get a hidden message, and someone accidentally does that. There's some crazy stuff in that movie.
Who wasn't playing the records backwards in the 80s? You know what I mean? Everybody was playing the records backwards in the 80s.
Yeah, The Gate. Come on, man.
And I've only
Trick or Treat, man. Sammy Kerr, right?
I've only
play Fastway records backwards. You're gonna resurrect the demon.
I've only seen the first Insidious. I never saw 2, 3, and 4. So, but I heard
you don't. They're okay, but the first Insidious was the reason why I had hypertension and had to get blood pressure medication. It's the first Insidious with like a good sound.
You were scared of Darth Maul, Orc?
The stingers on that fucking movie throughout the whole thing, I literally my chest was beating. Like you could see like my whole chest moving.
Wow.
Like at the end with the violins, dude, it was a good sound setup, but the first Insidious was something I'll never forget. Darth Maul was awesome though too. Qui-Gon Jinn. Let's go.
There's some legit scares in the first Insidious that are just the demon just standing in the corner of the kid's room, and it takes a moment for your eyes to adjust and you see it, and it's a practical effect. It doesn't look cheesy. That's a serious moment.
Yeah, like when the ladies in the window and there's the kids in the carriage, like that shit, bro. My pulse was like 113.
And that's kind of why I prefer them to the Conjuring movies, because the Conjuring movies rely a lot more on jump scares than the Insidious films do.
So what he's done is he's done a movie like Furious 7, Aquaman, $200 million movies, gross $1 billion. Then you have something like Insidious, cost $800,000 and made over $100 million with it. So he's trusted with all budgets right now.
Yeah, anything he wants to do.
Yeah.
Let's hope he does some good horror, some good original horror.
Movie homies, is he doing Conjuring 3 or no?
No, someone else's.
No.
But they are doing. I think Nun. Is it Nun 2 or is it that they're bringing the couple back for the next one of those? No, the Annabelle 3. They're in it.
Okay.
So they won't just be in the Conjuring movies. They're going to be in the spin-offs now too.
The only thing I hate there is that we're basically taking these real life frauds and elevating them to art.
Allegedly.
No, there's no alleged about it. I mean, but I mean, I like the character. I like the characters a lot more than I like the real people. So I'll go with it, I guess. But
My favorite thing are those behind the scenes of the real Annabelle, the Raggedy Ann doll, and they have all these different pictures of it in the box or like them holding her. And if you look carefully, it's a different doll every time. Like the eyelashes are different on each one. So obviously, there's more than one Annabelle.
Is the woman still alive?
I think so.
I think no, she might have just gone.
Oh, okay.
I think she passed.
No, she did too.
It's here, right?
Well, they were keeping up the facade about the Amityville house years after even the owners were like, "Yeah, we just made that all up to sell a book." They were still keeping up that facade for years after. Even the owners were like, "Yeah, we just needed some money."
Lorraine Warren is still alive.
91. Wow.
Yeah.
1 year older than Dick Clark. Rest in peace.
They still have their museum too that you can go in and see Annabelle
Nice.
in their basement.
Let's go, Lauren.
I remember. Yeah, let's go.
I would
remember.
go. In RP.
I remember.
Dick Miller. I mean, I'm sorry.
I remember the Warrens from an edition of Reader's Digest in the early '80s, which was like this huge article about them. And I remember the photo on the cover was the original Annabelle doll. And I remember as a kid, it seemed really scary. And then there was a quote. I'm not sure if it was from Lorraine or if it was from Ed, in which they literally said that there couldn't be ghosts in countries that weren't Christian. And that was the point where I just turned off and went, oh, they're frauds. You can't believe this stuff and make that kind of a statement, you know?
Mm-hmm.
How do you follow that?
Well, I got the Amityville box set from Australia. Did you get that one, Piz? That has all 4 films, and then it has all the documentaries too, the Amityville horror and all that stuff. Put into it. So you're a big Umbrella guy. I think it's one of their collections.
Oh, cool.
Yeah,
I have to look into that.
Yep.
But yeah, we should mention Dick Miller, who passed away recently. 90 years of age. Dick Miller. He was in literally everything. If it was a good movie from the 80s, he was in there somewhere. Just prolific actor. Yeah, passed away the ripe old age of 90. I got to meet him once many years ago. Very nice guy.
That's cool.
Has died.
Yeah.
If you look behind me, he's back there somewhere.
Very nice guy. Let's see. Does anybody? Were there any movies on anybody else's list that nobody talked about?
Yeah, I can go ahead and wrap a few out here. Some of the Uwe Boll joints.
Oh God!
You
had expectations for those?
No, I'm just saying I had really terrible times in the theater watching them.
Oh God!
No, that's what I'm saying. I didn't put a name to this guy until I watched a few of these things. You know, it was what House of the Dead was first, and that was horrible. And then whatever was next, and then was the one with Christian Slater. I had it on the tip of my tongue.
Was it Fear of the Dark or something? Alone in the Dark.
Alone in the Dark, yeah, another video game ripoff. That was almost unbearable. It was free for me to see it too. So
I can't believe those even got in theaters for people to watch.
A lot of his films did for a while. Like what did he do after that?
Blood Rain.
Yeah, that didn't go in theaters.
It didn't? I thought it did.
Did it?
It might not have. I don't know.
Well, not the 7 sequels he made. I don't think made it.
No.
Yeah,
I saw this documentary about the writer.
Sorry.
I was going to say I saw this documentary about screenwriters, and the woman writer is Guinevere Turner, who of course co-wrote American Psycho, and she said she wrote one line that's in the film, and it's not even said correctly the way it was meant to be in the script. So,
I've seen that documentary. It's funny.
You want to know why Mortal Kombat is still the best video game movie? It's because Uwe Balls has done like half of them. Think about that.
I'm not.
Well, maybe now, because James Wan was attached to a Mortal Kombat movie for a long time. Maybe
Producer,
now Well, maybe he's got all this clout. He can make it happen, and he can guide it to be a good movie. You know.
Maybe. I'd say he'll have Aquaman 2 on his lap. So.
Well, that's true too. That's true too. Anything else on your listing, Ray?
Yeah, I think that's all I can think of at the moment. I know I've got more, but we kind of touched on them earlier.
Okay. Anybody else with any on your list?
We can.
I don't know, but sorry, I'm gonna let you finish, Cameron.
Okay.
Subscribe to Uwe Ball's YouTube channel. It's fucking amazing. He has an opinion for everything. You know, he's just like, I don't give a fuck. I will play golf until I die. Suck my dick. Like he's hilarious.
Or better yet,
I can't do it.
or better yet, or every single one of us has YouTube channels. Subscribe to all of us too.
Sure. Yeah.
Well, I never said I was the smartest or smart at all. So, but that is a good idea, though, Cameron.
Yeah, I'm sure we all could use an extra subscriber or two. So.
We're not balling in British Columbia like Uwe Balls. Kick him out of the country, Rahel, please.
But I'm not kidding you. Weekend at Bernie's too as a joke. But see, I liked the first one so much, and my mom laughed so hard at that first movie, and so we're like, oh, okay, let's go see the second one. Pin drop. I mean, there was not one person who laughed the whole movie. And then and then what made it even worse, so we complained about it, and it came out on video, and then friends of ours saw it, and they said, oh, we liked it better in the first movie. We couldn't believe it. Horrified. So yeah, that's a disappointment to me.
Who wants a Stingray spotlight this week? Anybody want a Stingray spotlight? All right, Stingray, what do you got for us in the spotlight this week?
Oh, I got a good one for you today. I finally watched Suspiria remake.
A
film I didn't want, I didn't ask for, I didn't care to see it. I heard some of you guys say it wasn't that great and it was too long, whatever. I loved it, start to finish. I was on board. I watched about half of it on like a kind of like an iffy streaming site, and I realized that they weren't putting the German subtitles in there, so I was missing quite a bit. So I went and I bought the 4K copy on Vudu. It was only like $15, so it was pretty cheap. I haven't bought a movie in a long time, so I picked it up, and I love it, man. Love it quite a bit. I think that's the way to do a remake. I think.
What did they do right?
Everything. It's great, man. It's one of my favorite movies of the year, for sure. It's I think the casting is really good. Like, I was on board with the cast before it even came out, and it doesn't feel overly long to me either. So
that was one of my problems with it. I thought it felt long.
Yeah.
But
Jay, I have to ask this out of an enjoyment factor. Did you like Halloween more or Suspiria? Sorry, there's my connection flux.
Suspiria.
I have my problems with Suspiria, but that's absolutely the only credible answer to that question.
Yeah.
Well, I remember like when Casino Royale came out, and I said, Mom, you're gonna love it because it's not like the James Bond movie. He's not a womanizer. He's not drinking martinis. He's not this and that. She's like, well, then it's not James Bond. And so my thing about Suspiria is I haven't seen it yet, but it's like if you take away the crazy camera tricks and the goblin score and the lighting and stuff, how is it still Suspiria?
That's what I'm saying. It's not. It doesn't try to be anything like the original film, which is why I think it works. I could appreciate both films for, it has a few plot points that are similar, but yeah. I think the editing's really good. The set design is amazing. Like, it's a period piece, and it's one of the best period pieces I've seen in quite a while. It's very, very true to the time it was made.
So you think
the time it was set.
Do you think it's going to go down as one of the great remakes?
It's very possible. I mean, I think with some traction after it gets released, I think people will actually get to see it because it didn't really get much of a release.
It's hard to call that one remake. Doesn't seem like the word for that one. That one seems like a true reimagining. Like, they took the basic story and the director did his own thing with it. I don't think it all entirely worked. I didn't like it to the same level that Stingray did, but I loved the performances. I thought Tilda Swinton was great.
Mm-hmm.
You know, she just killed it. And Dakota Johnson was really good too. Which I mean, I really hadn't seen her in anything. I know she did those 50 Shades movies, which are supposed to be horrible. I've not seen any of those, but
she's naked in them and is lovely.
Yeah.
Okay. But
that's mainly why I was such a fan of her to begin with.
But yeah, great performances. Yeah, it's an interesting movie, and I really like the ending of it. How they really just totally, just kind of turned everything on its head, and it really takes a different and interesting turn toward the end.
It's one I want to watch a few more times to fully grasp everything that's going on, because it's a lot to take in. It's I would just recommend it for you guys to check it out. It's very artsy. So if you're someone who doesn't like that type of film, if you can't sit down for a little while without watching a few cars blow up, then it's probably not the film for you. So I will preface it with that.
Very artsy.
Because it's not for everyone.
Yes, and not a traditional, not a traditional remake. Like I said in my review, if you go into that thing, expecting Argento Suspiria, you're not gonna dig it.
Mm-hmm.
There was some kid raging at one of Jay's reviews, and it was like a great movie with great character development. Dude, what's wrong? Why can't you like character development? And he had this sub that was just raging at him. Do you remember who I'm talking about, Jay?
What film are you talking about?
There was some guy who was really mad at a movie that you enjoyed, one of your all-time favorite movies. I think it was like Godfather 1 or 2 or something. And he was shitting on the movie, and you're like, was there too much character development for you in that movie? Is that why you disliked it so much? I don't know.
You shit on Godfather 1 or 2. I don't want to have a conversation with
you.
I still find Suspiria, the remake, to be a difficult movie to discuss. And I only saw it the once, but I just find it, I don't know, it's a very hard film to discuss because there's so much there. You can't call it a vacant film. It's not something that's not thoughtful, but there's a lot there, and that, Jay, that might be the most positive review I've heard of the film. Most people are coming out in the middle because there's just so much there that there's bound to be something that someone doesn't like in it, because there's just a ton of material. There's so many subplots, not all of them directly connect. There are certain stylistic choices at the end involving filters that are definitely an acquired taste. I don't know. But it's weird. It's hard. People tend to talk about this film in generalities, and I fall into that too, because it's just hard to discuss the movie. I guess there's a value in it just saying that.
Yeah, and I don't, and there's something too about it's it's a familiar movie, but you kind of have to tiptoe around not spoiling it, even though it's a movie. You know what I mean? It's like it's Suspiria, but you're tiptoeing around not spoiling it. Let's see what's going on out in the chat tonight. Our buddy Christian Hanna Horror's with us tonight. How you doing, Christian? Hope you're doing well. Got some love for Dick Miller out in the chat tonight as well. Yes, Tilda Swinton played 3 different roles in that movie. She was pretty good in all 3. Jerpin says, tell B-Movie Mike I miss him. We all miss him. But B-Movie Mike is very busy. I talked to him earlier today. He's a very, very busy man. Mike Flanagan is mentioned out in the chat by CB and Seagal. Are you guys excited for the Shining sequel, Mr. Sleep, directed by Mike Flanagan? Or is it Dr. Sleep?
Dr. Sleep.
Okay. Any excitement for that? Has anybody read the book?
I actually haven't read that book, which is bizarre. I've been rereading the Castle Rock ones since that series came out. I just want to watch more Castle Rock.
I haven't read. I stopped reading King a couple decades ago. So
I haven't heard good things about Doctor Sleep, so I never got around to reading it.
It's got a good cast for the movie, though.
I mean, I like Mike Flanagan, so I'll definitely watch it.
Yeah, which I still haven't watched the Ghost Story series that he did for Netflix, which I hear is really good.
The Haunting of Hill House.
Yes, yes.
Yeah, I'd be interested in what you think about that.
I started watching it and I liked it so far.
Is it just is it another just adaptation of the book, like The Haunting and stuff? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Well, my understanding is it's not though, right? It's about the house, but it's not the story that's in the novel. It's not the Shirley Jackson story.
No, it's all about the family, and it's a different thing, kind of it.
My buddy Robbie's in the chat with us tonight. How you doing, Robbie? My buddy Grindhouse Grotto is in the chat with us tonight. How are you? Got some arguing over Rob Zombie's Halloween movies in the chat. It's always interesting.
Are they arguing how bad they were?
No, they're comparing. They're saying that 2 is better than 1, but then was like, no, 1's better than 2.
Okay.
So, but I mean, I think it's kind of like. I think it's kind of like, you know, which bad movie is better.
Yeah, better or worse.
Exactly.
It's like we only have psychiatrists in the audience, and they're arguing which film made them more money.
We've had a lively chat tonight. A lot of familiar names in the chat tonight, and a lot of new names in the chat tonight. So very cool. Very cool. So we've had a Stingray spotlight, or hopefully your connection will sustain itself. Why don't you give us an Orcs Corner? What's going on in Orcs Corner tonight?
Bruh, my connection is business class. All right, motherfucker. Top. It's
And then it cuts out.
Literally. Lol. God damn it. Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Verizon,
yeah.
Can you hear me now? Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry, my fab top has issues. A lot of questionable sites with Chrome. Anyways, so what's I was gonna say Orc Spotlight. How confused I am right now because I'm like going cross-eyed. Anyways, Jay, can I get a real talk?
Real talk.
Nothing.
This is more confusing than a Suspiria subplot.
Wait, what's up?
You completely cut. You got the real talk. We got nothing.
Oh shit! Okay. Hang on. Wait. Mic check 1 2. We coming in.
Yeah, hit us now. Boom, go.
Okay, I have 2 programs open. We're going over. Oh, this is too much for the fat book. Okay. All right. So check it out. Now that Subway sandwiches are gym mat free, who would you have a Subway sandwich with, and what direction? And what would you have? I might have already in our 20th season, but I'd have a meatball marinara with Dario Argento, and then talk about Asiago. I don't know. Provolone Argento. I don't fucking know. Sorry.
What the fuck is this?
This is not a meatball.
I'd be like, Mamma mia. I just want to have a meatball marinara with Dario and Asia Argento and Parmesan Argento with in the Roman Coliseum. I love you, Cameron. Please take care. Tell Mr. Siesta what's up, homie.
All right, but you want to hang out with Dario and Asia, but not Fior? Come on, she's the one that has the best meatballs.
I want to just hang out with the guy that she raped too. Also, so hashtag me too. Come get some. Let's go for the boys.
Could you imagine? Could you imagine Dario Argento sitting in a Subway, eating a meatball marinara? That would be
the true surrealism.
That would be the truest.
I'm gonna talk over everybody like usual. I revised my answer. Meatball marinara, 2 foot-long subs, because just one isn't enough, if you know what I'm saying. And it's with Lamberto Bava, Mario Bava, and Dario Argento.
Wow.
And Lucio Fulci.
Wow.
I said that correctly.
Wow.
Yep. And we all have meatball marinara sandwiches. And then like we have to stop like Asia Argento or Asiago Argento, or the fuck you say her name, from like raping people who come in at the door. So that's my dream.
And you'd be like, Mr. Argento, what Booms Farm pairs the best with this sub?
And I'd be like,
strawberry.
Hey. And I'd be like, I know you like filming your daughter, you know, in nude scenes throughout your filmography. Why is Victor Salva on your speed dial list? And let me know where Roman Polanski's hanging out in France. Oh, Jesus. There's just too many memes. Life's too short. You gotta laugh, okay? Lol. Omega lol.
Oh, God. Oh, my God. That's probably the best Orcs Corner ever. That's got to be the best Orcs Corner ever. Wow, my God.
He had me at meatball marinara. I was thinking he picked pizza sub, right? Like the Italian connection. No, we gotta have that meatball. Love it.
You know those Italians like to eat fresh. Let's be real here.
Oh yeah.
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 Oh God. Let's see. Gosh, I can't remember the last time I ate at Subway.
Remember, there's no more gym mat, so you can eat there safely. Pizza.
Oh, thank God. Thank God.
Get a club. Roast beef. Okay.
I kind of wanted more gym mat. I don't know.
No.
Is that what makes you feel full?
Yeah. The club has, you got to get extra cheese. It's 50 cents more. Okay. The Subway Club has roast beef, turkey, and
well. No legitimate club sandwich has roast beef on it. What the fuck is that?
The Subway Club.
Roast beef is a man sandwich. Okay, Lauren, you're gonna learn this when you grow up. You're gonna learn today, boy.
No,
all right?
Dude, what part of club? Where are you getting a club sandwich with roast beef on?
From Jared and his prison cell. Okay, get on my level, dog. Let's be real here. Okay. Anyways, so you get a little American cheese, a little provolone. I don't eat Swiss, and it smells like shit anyway. But you got the roast beef, you got the turkey, you got the Black Forest ham. Your sandwich artist is looking at you, wondering what your next move is going to be. And I go, I have 3 fine Italian gentlemen with me. Some of them are dead, but they came back to life. And then, when they're coming to check you out and ring up the total, Dario Argento's daughter shows her tits, and then you fucking run. You run it like you stole it. Fucking run out, and then that's how you roll.
Oh God!
You can pick better places to dine and dash, I think.
Yeah,
but
well,
I appreciate the effort.
I've heard that we're really close to being able to decode the thought process in people's minds into actual text. I read an article.
You'll never apply it to work.
Lauren, here's the meme for you.
It is one of the signs of a new apocalypse.
Lauren, I'm not just the schizo. They can already do that, bro. I'm not even joking. We can create AI robots that look like humans in South Korea and Japan. They can already do that. So if I go missing in a week, there you go. In text, easily. I don't even want to know what they do in Provo, Utah, in that NSA fucking place. They can already do that. People, that's why Jay has my back on this. People think Siri and Alexa and Google Home are hilarious. Do you know how fucking stupid people are? Like that. This is the ultimate real talk.
This is I don't even want it. I don't know what's happening right now.
I bet you there's a cure for like legit cancer and then HIV already, and just only like billionaires have access to it. Guaranteed.
I know one billionaire doesn't have access to it. Well, Mr. Steve Jobs did not have access.
Well, he was a fucking noob anyway. Just kidding. Don't kill me.
All right. My Subway sandwich of choice. It's either going to be a cold cut combo or a pizza sub, and I'm going to eat that.
Is it on Italian herbs and cheese though?
Exactly.
If it's not, then you did it wrong.
Exactly. It's exactly.
And then do you get the three? Pizzo, I'm gonna let you finish. Come on, I never get to talk anyway. 3 chocolate chip cookies for $1. That's how you eat fresh.
Oh, I prefer the macadamia nut cookies there.
Well, you're a faggot. Anyways,
oh God,
Pizzo's just such a bad host. He's so rude. He talks over everybody. He has a fat book and a shitty connection. Lives in a trailer in fucking Kentucky, but he is the most epic Kentuckian. He is the true uber Kentuckian, and I said it here. All right, don't you ever forget that.
Oh, Jesus.
Come on the show next week with a red eye, jacked. He's gonna make Schwarzenegger look like a bitch in Pumping Iron. You wait for it.
Because of his roast beef club sandwich?
Because of everything, the mating call, he's going to have like 20 kids running around. He won't even be able to pay child support, okay? All right. Jesus Christ. Look what you guys made me do.
I don't know if I can go on. I'm about to. That was insane.
Anyways, we were talking Subway sandwiches and $4 cookies.
That was intense.
Was anyone a fan of the raisin cookies?
No.
Raisin?
That was the best Subway I've ever heard.
I kind of want Subway now. I haven't had Subway. I don't remember the last time I had Subway. But
there are no more $5 footlongs, and Jared is gone. But you can still eat fresh, my friends. Best believe it.
It's got to be. It's got to be the pizza sub, macadamia nut cookie, cherry icy, and I'm gonna eat all that with James.
You got to get a fountain drink. Yeah.
Oh, fountain drink.
What do you choose? Coke? Diet Coke?
Why are there so many rules?
Fountain drinks are like canned and plastic bottle soda. That's okay. But the reason why we're all still alive in 2019 is fountain drinks. Lauren, am I right? My Coke Zero Sugar brethren.
There we go.
That's right. I have some in the kitchen. I'm sorry.
7-Up. I'm going with either 7-Up or Sprite then.
They don't have 7-Up on tap.
Okay.
Sure.
They have Sprite though.
It'd be Sprite.
Yeah.
Sprite.
Or Sierra Mist.
Yeah, Sierra Mist.
No sane person drinks Sierra Mist.
And if you could sneak in a Pepsi product into the Subway, which would you choose with all of your directors?
I'm gonna blow your mind here, but it's all fucking Pepsi products in Canada.
Oh my god!
I get cherry Pepsi when I go to Subway.
All right, cherry Pepsi or cherry Coke?
Cherry Pepsi.
I prefer cherry Coke personally. They're both good though, but give me cherry Coke.
I like cherry Pepsi.
I think it's like two of our American elections. It's too close to call. It's up to Ohio and Florida. Either way, we all lose.
Oh my god! I just about passed out. What an intense Subway talk. What an intense!
Yeah.
That was the most intense Works Corner. I mean,
my kid is upstairs screaming. I think you woke him up and fucked him up, work. I don't know. Whatever just happened there, like transferred. So I'm gonna go take care of him.
Bring him a meatball sub.
Well,
I'm gonna go get him a meatball sub because he's hungry. I think. And 3.
I apologize, Ryho. I didn't mean it, and I will bring you Humpty Dumpty barbecues. I'll bring a trunk full.
Later,
I don't even care if
it's been a blast, guys.
See you, man.
Take care.
Have a good one. Have a good one, buddy. Oh God.
I just don't know why you guys can't be professional on this fucking show. It's so easy. Look at this fucking player right here.
I think I'd go with like a 6-inch wheat dry with turkey and Swiss with a medium-sized grape crush and David Cronenberg.
Well, you're smart. Cronenberg, of course, but you're smart with the medium drink, and I like what you've done here. Okay, this is a job interview. I like what you've done here, Jay, because the medium you spend less, but then you can just get as many refills as you want.
Yeah, as long as you don't
as long as you don't bring it back in. The only place that does that is movie theaters. Orcs Pro tip of the week: if you actually buy food from any, you can ask for a cup of water. Pro tip of the day: if you're balling on a budget, you can't eat Chipotle every day, but when you can, make it count.
You just you have that clear glass. You need to get like Sprite in it because they're going to
No,
know.
they just give you a free small.
They're going to give you tap water in the dirtiest glass they can find, man. It's not a good move.
Lauren, some of us aren't fucking Rotten Tomatoes critics and can't go to Chipotle every night, okay? I'm talking for the fans.
What's wrong with Chipotle? I like my salmonella.
Well, really?
Don't talk crap about Chipotle, man. I prefer Qdoba and Moe's, but I like Chipotle too.
Oh man!
All right,
you're speaking my language now.
All right. Well, in my speak, Lauren, I eat Taco Bell, so because I'm not as fortunate as you. Okay.
Taco Bell. I have a problem with Taco Bell because I can't have cheese. And no matter how you say, no matter how explicitly you tell them not to put cheese on any of their products, it shows up with cheese on their products.
I think all the shells have cheese in it too. So
The best part about Taco Bell, like Wendy's, that's a place that's amazing. McDonald's is a place of happiness and Happy Meals and dreams and collectible cars and Grimm and all that stuff. But Taco Bell, the real dream is you go to Taco Bell and then you get free diarrhea. So,
Borderline 11 says a foot long with Victor Salva.
Oh.
Too soon.
Jeez, oh Pete. So, Lauren, what are you having at Subway, and what director are you having it with?
I'm gonna have a turkey and bacon sub on white with Jacques Tournay. So I can ask him whether he likes the version of Curse of the Demon with the demon at the end or not. Because this is what I go to sleep wondering about.
Wow.
Yeah.
Interesting. I like that.
He's long dead too.
Mm-hmm. Well, if I, maybe I would. I'm going to change mine, and I'm going to have my pizza sub with my macadamia nut cookies, my Sprite, and my cherry icy. And I'm going to change my drink. I'm going to have a Dr. Pepper.
Ooh.
And I'm going to have it all with Toby Hooper.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah. And we're going to smoke giant cigars after we eat.
And then he's going to explain spontaneous combustion to you.
He's going to explain what happened in that movie that made it go downhill.
Figure out the truth about Poltergeist.
Yeah. Oh, yes. Now that would be what I'd pick his brain on, to be like, that. Come on.
Have you ever seen the storyboards from that he commissioned for Poltergeist?
No, I don't think so.
Oh, very different film. Jo Beth Williams' character doesn't just have her shirt kind of raised on the bed. She gets raped by a ghost.
Oh, that's hot.
Yeah, and there's a lot of stuff like that.
Well, that's probably Spielberg probably saw that and was like,
I gotta play a more active role here.
Exactly. We can't have any ghost rapings in this movie. I mean, I hired this guy because he directed Texas Chainsaw Massacre, but we can't let him go too far off the rails here,
I imagine how much food they ate on set and where they got it from. Were they like more McDonald's or?
It was probably catered in by a very fancy catering company.
We need to find out what John Carpenter's favorite food is, and then just send him a bunch of video games, weed, and then like a gift card with like $10,000 of his favorite restaurant of choice, and we get him on the show.
I'd say his favorite restaurant is probably similar to. It probably is Chipotle.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say too.
Yeah, it probably is Chipotle.
You got the munchies, man.
Yeah, runs by Chipotle, gets a couple of burritos, goes home, plays some Dead Space, smokes a couple of J's, composes some music with his son down the basement,
That sounds like a nice life to me.
Chipotle closes pretty early, though, for John Carpenter, don't you think? It might have to be a Taco Bell thing.
It could be.
Do you think Carpenter has gone for the fourth meal? And then what does he get? Do you think he get Baja Blast guy? No, I'm serious. Fucking Jay, stop fucking laughing. You fucking shit. Do you think he's fourth? Is he a Doritos Locos Baja Blast kind of guy?
Oh my god, those Doritos Locos are sick, man. I love those things. Oh,
these are good, no questions. John Carpenter, God forbid, I'm not even religious, but hopefully he doesn't die for at least another 25 years. We have to know what his Taco Bell order in the fourth meal is. We need to know this. Someone get on it in the LA area. I know we have a lot of rich and wealthy fans. Most of us are not, like Jay, but just saying.
Let's go ahead and wrap. Let's go ahead and wrap this show up because
let's wrap this up like a burrito.
I think we just got to call this thing off because Orc, you're blowing minds.
Okay, all right, I'm getting some aggro here. I think he gets 10 tacos, 5 crunchy, 5 soft, 2 large Baja Blasts, and then I think he probably gets 2 to 3 Doritos Locos if I had to guess, because he's a fucking savage.
Is that your "I'm serious" Mark Wahlberg impersonation there? The whispering?
No,
or...
that's me. I'm trying not to get my neighbors to fucking kill me.
It's the trees. Polly. Hey,
All right,
Polly.
guys. All right, guys. We're gonna wrap it up there. That was the most intense Orcs Corner ever. So my God, what an episode! What a capper! What a capper!
You know, Piz, once you grow up and you're a baller like me, you'll understand how the world works. All right.
You're a wise sensei. A wise sensei.
The world is yours, Pizzelle. You just got to earn it. All right.
Thank you. Let me give a big shout out to everybody who tuned in tonight and watched along with us. Thank you guys for tuning in. Shout outs to Jerpin, Verisimilitude, CBN Seagal, Borderline 11. Let's see. On up the list here. Who else we got with us? Oh, man. Austin Rhodey. Roland 666, Gary Reeves, my buddy Robbie, Stone Gassman, thank you. Christian Hannah Horror, thank you. Very lively chat tonight. Joe Bob Tarhill. I believe I saw Joseph Purdue. Manny Gatillo, thank you. Grindhouse Grotto, thank you. And thank you guys who joined me tonight for this very lively show. And yeah, we will be back next week. Let's see, what are we doing next week? Ooh, this will be a fun one next week. Horror comedies next week.
Oh, turns out we've already done that twice.
And we will be announcing the Viewer's Choice live commentary. You guys, we'll give you guys 4 movies to choose from. You'll vote for which one that we do the live commentary for. So we'll get that ball rolling next week. Have a great week, guys. Thanks again for tuning in. Take care. And till then, peace.